Welcome back to the Good, the Bad and the Ugly podcast with me, Tony Morell. This week's special guest is John Burton, the co-founder of Inside Connections CIC, transforming lives by supporting individuals with convictions to find sustainable employment. In this episode, John shares his journey, the challenges of creating real change within the criminal justice system, and the inspiring success stories of those who've turned their lives around. Thanks for listening and watching this episode.
We were turning over £3 million a week. Gets to bed, 8:30 in the morning, door gets cleaned up and I get dragged out of bed, thrown in the back seat, head down, flew straight out of the house. So I'm thinking, what's going on here? I don't think anyone's ready for Scousers, to be honest.
Welcome to the Good, the Bad and the Ugly podcast with me, Tony Morell, and this week's special guest is aka Juice Bomb John Burton. John was one of Liverpool's biggest career criminals, but now has totally transformed his life. Really looking forward to you sharing the Good, the Bad and the Ugly, mate. John.
Thank you.
How are we, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good.
You okay?
Yep. All good, mate.
Listen, thanks very much for coming on. I know you are extremely busy in what you do. You know,
must be. It just took me 6 fucking hours getting here.
Took you 6 hours to get here, but no, I know you're up and down the country doing really big things, helping, you know, people who are released from jail and stuff, and, you know, getting them into work. And, you know, I said to someone the other day, like, you know, a lot of people who come out of jail, you know, they sort of get put on the scrap heap and they're not given a chance and stuff. And everyone does make mistakes, made plenty myself. But what you're doing, and now you've turned your life around and transformed something that was an idea while you were in jail. You know, it's fantastic, you know, and we're really honoured to have you on, mate.
I think it's all them nights sitting in a cell thinking about how can you get straight.
Yeah.
Because you know what, that criminal life's not for anybody. It was different years ago. You had, phones were different. Now they're just human grassing machines. And that's what they are. Like, I was talking to coppers the other week. He went, we don't need grasses no more, we've got them in here.
Yeah.
Just talking about phones. You can see like all the encro stuff, what it's done to a lot of people. It's just took a lot of good lads away who've just been involved in a bit of shit growing up.
Yeah, it's bonkers, isn't it? It's like you say. But all them nights that you served in jail and your mind's doing overtime, and I think that's what you've got a lot of time on your hands. And
yeah, I think, to be honest though, I think if the authorities and stuff wouldn't have put me through every barrier or every sort of obstacle along the prison sentence, like coming from the Cat A unit, getting booted out of the Northwest prisons, getting moved down to Birmingham and then down to the Isle of Sheppey, I think that's what took an effect on me. Especially watching my kids and my family travel 18, 19 hours on a round trip just to come and see you for an hour. I thought, fuck this, mate, I've had enough.
Yeah. So, John, I just want to get into it from, you know, where you grew up, where you're from, family life and school life was like.
Grew up in Vauxhall Road, Vauxhall Gardens. I was born there, I think it was 6 minutes to 12 midnight on New Year's Eve. I think my mum would have kept her legs shut for about 7 more minutes. I'd have been a fucking year younger. So... And I think from there it was we were in Vauxhall till I think it was October 1977. I remember moving from Vauxhall when I was a kid. Obviously we lived in flats then, and then moving there to a 3-bedroom house right by Goodison.
Kirkdale, was it in Kirkdale?
Well, it was Walton our side.
Yeah.
So our side of the road was Walton, the other side was Kirkdale. But I lived facing Stanley Park, so I was literally 2-minute walk to Anfield and 2-minute walk to Goodison. But my heart was always at Goodison. Even though my dad and my brothers were all Reds, I was blue through and through.
Yeah.
I love Everton. I don't dislike Liverpool because I don't watch Liverpool with my dad and stuff. So it doesn't bother me, you know what I mean? But my half fella took me to the match and stuff to watch Liverpool when I was a kid. I'm sorry, I just couldn't put a Liverpool shirt on. You're
just saying to Ben, our producer there, you just couldn't jump when you'd gone to watch them and stuff. But it was one of those. Most of my family were Reds when I was. And I just don't know what it was. It just, me Uncle Les and me Uncle John used to give me dead legs and that and say, come and support Liverpool and all that. I'd be like, no, fuck off and all that. And then for some reason supported Everton, which I love.
Do you know my nan? She put it in my head when I was a kid, right, that anything with red in it was danger. So she was saying, look, there's a road sign there, it's red and it's got a red line through it, that's danger. And that's what sort of kept me...
Stuck in your head?
It kept me sort of heading towards Everton all the time.
Yeah.
And do you know what, I'm glad I did, because we were good at the time. And, you know, for me, loyalty. I'll be loyal to Everton all my life. So someone said, how can you describe Everton in like 4 words? I went, love, joy, heartache and pain. Because that's what I've gone through with them all my life. I was talking to my half fella the other week. I remember getting to Wembley. I was only 13 and I bumped on a special. I get all the way down there thinking, you know what, I'll be in, get in the match. And we got beat 1-0 by United.
85 cup final was that?
Yeah, and I think must have been about 14, and it was the 84-85 season, weren't it? And I goes down there, and fucking I was all over the telly, weren't I? Oh, I went home, my half fella was fuming.
They didn't know you'd gone down?
No, because I was only like 13, 14, and he just went ballistic.
In the 80s as well, just jumping on the train and fucking...
The specials were great then.
Yeah.
You used to get a special from Lime Street, and it'd just take you straight down to London, wouldn't it? But you'd just be madness all the way.
All the way, all the
and I guarantee by the time you're getting into like London, Euston and stuff, you'd always have like Chelsea, West Ham, you'd always have supporters just ready for a fight.
Yeah, it was like that in the 80s. We weren't
really fighting at that age, you know what I mean? We just wanted to go and get in the game. But, you know, I love Everton, I always will do.
Yeah. So what was family life like? Brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I've got 2 brothers. They're just normal lads.
Yeah.
Not like me. Never grew up like me. Our Stephen and our Paul, they're just 2 decent lads who just crack on. They've never been involved in crime. Saying that, our kid, our Stephen, I got him nicked when I got the ciggies. I think he got 6 weeks when he was away. He had 6 weeks with me in a cell. And I caught him having a shit at the end of the bed one morning. I went, that's it, lads, you'll have to move. Go and fucking get in with someone else in the pad. He's not staying here. But you know what? They're just normal lads. They're not to grew up. Look, I knew at an early age I was going to jail no matter what. You know what I mean? It was just where, when and how. Yeah. And then obviously it happened a few times to me then.
But being a kid, like, say, growing up in Liverpool in the 80s, you know, there was a lot going on. There was a lot going on as well in the 80s in Liverpool, wasn't there?
But it was like where we were probably, so we get to the 80s on County Road, Walton Road. You'd had like all like old shops and bondies and stuff like that, and we used to just go in them smoking weed and stuff like that, you know, making dens in them when you're like 10, 11, 12. I think I had my first joint at New Year's Eve when I was 11.
Yeah.
And I think any
was it Rocky or something like that?
Was Rocky, yeah.
Rocky, yeah.
I think it was Rocky rolled out. One of the old drug dealers on the estate, he used to roll it out that thin. I think he used to get about 600 deals out of it with that thin. But, you know, it was just Rocky then.
Yeah.
It was all Rocky, and I think the only green at that time might have been Sensimilia.
Yeah.
Sensimilia had all pips in, didn't it? You know what I mean? So that's how long you can go back. I still remember a key of Sensimilia like that in a silver foil package.
Yeah.
I always remember Afghan Black. It'd come in a kilo block in a silver foil where you had your Rocky, then was 4-9 bars, where it used to call it a puck of weed.
Yeah.
Everyone used to put it in the microwave and burn the arse out of it. I used to put it in a bag in the boiling kettle and just let the water soften it up.
And just cut it up and whatever. So from what age, John, did you start like with all that was like around you and stuff like that?
I think probably when I started smoking weed, probably about 11. But obviously we were in, like obviously where we lived there, it was about minding cars. You always used to mind cars and earn
for the match, yeah.
And like robbing cars, it's not like I used to get in them and drive them. But if there was a case of something on the back seat of a car, mate, I'm sorry, it'd be going.
Yeah.
And if you did mind someone's car and they only give you 10 pence, you guaranteed you'd be getting fucking smashed the week after if he didn't give you a nicker. That's how it was. Like 80, I think pound coins come out about 1981, 82 or something like that. Pound coins come out, didn't they? Because they were all pound notes before that, weren't they?
Fucking hell.
Yeah, you're lucky to get a pound note off anyone, man, to any cars. But I loved it up there. It was great, our estate.
So from there, Anfield and Goodison, you were minding cars and you want money, you just wanting to earn money because, like you say, in the 80s, your mum and dad both work? Or...
They weren't really working. My old fella had a job in Vauxhalls, but obviously working nights. My ma couldn't handle him working nights, so he ended up finishing on that. But you know what, we had a good mum and dad, but they were provided everything they wanted for us. But you know, there's certain stuff that you grow up to that you want yourself, and you see the other lads and the older lads. And all that. The only way you're going to get it is just getting involved in graft, isn't it? So career-wise, you sort of knew from an early age what you wanted. I knew from the age of 11 where I was heading. School and that, was you fucking not interested? Not really, no. I used to go to school to see my mates. That's about it. But I think I got kicked out of there that many times. It was just one of them, but I fucking hated school. Yeah. What schools was you going? I went to so I was in Holy Cross in Vauxhall, funny up down by, well, my dad actually lives there now, right by the school. So I was in there in a nursery infants. Then I moved to St John's, that's in Kirkdale. And then from St John's I go to St Bonaventure's, which ended up the year after turning into Archbishop Beck. So then I went up there and used to get a bus there every morning. But I fucking hated school. Yeah. It was horrible.
Play football and in school.
Yeah,
and
I love football.
Archbishop Beck used to some
we had a
decent
good team as well, yeah. And you know what? I used to love playing football. I think when you start smoking weed, I think, like I always say to people now, I say, you know what, your life will change when you get to a secondary school. Because if you want to be academic and you want to do all your work and stay away from people who want to be the cock of the school, who want to be boisterous, then you're going in the right direction. You go with people who want to be the cock of the school and you want to be one of the boys in there.
You're going to go down the other route.
And do your mates, and you stick with your mates.
You sort of follow the what's name, don't you? You know what I mean? It's not a sheep fucking what's name, but you sort of follow the crowd, and it's one of them. It's easy to say, like, isn't it? You know, it's your mates, and you sort of get sucked in, and you think. But when you see the older lads who've got like,
so they had
nice,
BMs,
yeah,
like R-Reg BMW 316s, you know, stuff like that. Like you look at them now and you think, fucking hell, what? But in them days,
they were the best cars.
Like RS 2000. Do you remember the Alford Escort with the little pointy front?
Yeah,
the RS 2000. So all them was sort of my era growing up. I think one of the first, like, I think got to 17, 18, I think XR3s have come out and stuff. I think I had a few of them. Escort Gears, Orion. If you remember all them, they were all the cars. I was down here then, probably.
Yeah, in Runcorn, yeah.
I was down here for a few years, yeah.
Growing up in Liverpool and stuff, you were saying about on the estate before we come on, about, you know, the football teams coming to Anfield and Goodison and all that.
Yeah, so where we lived, it was at the beginning of Stanley Park. So every home game, no matter where, you'd have the away support coming along.
Priory Road or whatever. Or
Priory Road was the back, but you're coming Walton Lane. So if you come out to, say, the Park End, that was the away support at the time. They'd come out and they'd walk right along past our estate. But we'd all be there. So as you get towards the start of Stanley Park, there was our estate, but it had a big hill. And like you could duck down, you'd have bottles, cans, everything just ready to start throwing out. Bearing in when everyone thinks cans, well, these cans were full with cans of Coke. And then as soon as the team visiting supporters used to come,
escorted.
Yeah, because there'd be escorts with the horses and stuff. And then if they were like Millwall or Newcastle United, stuff like that, they'd be breaking out the escorts and
coming onto the estate.
There used to be murder on the estate. But then if you go to the other side of the estate at the back, Liverpool's away supporters used to come down Everton Valley, and you'd had a field there, and guaranteed every game there was a clash there, fights like.
And that was from an early age, was it, John? Yeah.
Probably, I think we started fighting 13, 14, 15, yeah. But our estate, you have to remember that everyone moved from different parts of the city and all moved onto this estate, and there was loads of people my age, a little bit older, a little bit younger, but it was like fucking Beirut. Like you couldn't walk, especially in 82. I'd say 81, 82, 83, smack got hold of our estate. Yeah. And a lot of me mates and a lot of people who I was hanging around with all were just on the gear, and I seen what it done to them in a few months. Gone from normal lads
smoking weed to the brown.
And they've gone on the brown, and you've just seen, even girls, you've just seen them just change like that and go bags of bones. Next minute there's houses getting robbed.
It's just a fun addiction.
Yeah, and like even like people coming through to go to the match, you know, we'd take the robber-lats and we'd take the tickets off them. You know, you couldn't walk to our estate without getting grafted.
Was it fucking moodiest? Yeah. Fucking hell. Like, but you're saying with the heroin and stuff, John, you see what it's done. I've seen what it's done, like family-wise and stuff, and it just destroys, like, it just gets a grip of it. And then,
it's horrible.
You look at that, you know, you think, why would you take it if it does, you know what I mean?
But it's like a new drug, innit? Like,
so
you didn't have cocaine in them days.
Yeah.
You know,
or ecstasy or whatever.
Cocaine went in Liverpool in the early 80s, like 83, 84, 85. And ecstasy, I'd say, only come out in the 87, 88. And obviously that's probably the quad era, about 88, 89, weren't it? When tablets started coming out.
Well, I'm going to get onto the quad and a bit later on about it, because it's a funny story I want to speak to you about. But, you know, with, like, obviously, with being on the estate and all that, was you going home and away watching Everton and stuff? Yeah.
I used to travel everywhere.
What was it like travelling?
Do you know what was great? So obviously I remember going to United a few times, and I remember being in escorts when we're going from, sometimes we had to go from Piccadilly, the buses were off and we had to walk.
Fucking some walk as well.
So
to Old Trafford.
It was just madness. But in them days, it was just pure hooligan everywhere. Everyone wanted to fight. No matter where you went, you had crowds of people who just wanted to fight. And if you were in an escort or they were in an escort, you guaranteed there's bottles.
Something's going to kick off.
Yeah, 100%. That's what it was all about, weren't it?
Yeah, in the 80s, yeah.
It was like the County Road Cutters. They were a little bit sort of older than us, you know what I mean?
So did you look up to them? Like,
Yeah, so obviously they were all king of the streets fighting, weren't they?
yeah, and like the urchins
Tell you
and all.
now,
Yeah.
Everton and Liverpool had
A decent
they
firm,
had a
like.
really good, firm, yeah.
Fucking hell. But what was it like, obviously, going abroad? Did you go abroad? Because
Yeah, I went abroad a few times. I went with Liverpool and Everton.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
away a lot with Liverpool, to be honest.
I know a few lads who were at the
Yeah,
same
I've been to
Liverpool with
Wembley,
Everton.
I've been to the Millennium Stadium, I've done abroad with Liverpool. I've done loads of stuff with them because I think after 86 anyway, we just didn't. Was it 86? Was it the Heysel Stadium? Was it
85 it
so,
was.
yeah, so obviously that banned us, like we won the Cup Winners' Cup that year.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that banned us from going in the year after. And I think it was like 4 or 5 years before we all stepped back into Europe.
And that. What was like when you were grafted and that over there, the shops and that?
I don't think they were ready for Scousers. I don't think anyone's ready for Scousers, to be honest. And I think over there, it's like if you go to like Germany or you go into like Amsterdam or into Holland, stuff like that, depending who was playing. It always used to be probably 50, 60 of us, and we'd all meet up over there, and then we'd just go sort of grafting jewellery shops and trackie shops. Now, if you remember then, there was Alessi, Australian, Lacoste, Fila, Ticini. Everyone was wearing them. Well, everyone weren't wearing them then.
And then you fucked.
But then we were all over there, and I used to go with one of my mates into the sports shops, and I'd be putting like mediums, you know, on just one rail.
Your size.
Yeah, I'd be putting all my size on, and I remember sort of saying to lads, look, I've got a shop round here, let's go round, graft it. And we've gone round and grafted it. I've gone straight to this rack, took the full about 10 or 12 tracksuits and just got on my toes. But everyone was like, how the fuck did they all fit you? He said, we've all got extra larges and triple XLs and smalls. You went, you've got fucking mediums.
Yeah.
And I fucking went in the shop beforehand. I used my head and then went in, put all the trackies on a hanger, but all mediums that would fit you. And they were all like velour trackies.
Dead, like nice material. Just
yeah,
really...
so like if you go to quad in them days, you used to have like an Adidas.
Everyone's looking at your clobber and all that, yeah.
So obviously going abroad, they weren't equipped for us going abroad.
Yeah, yeah.
And when Scousers go abroad, the rest is history.
Yeah, like they say, it was fucking. I know a few lads who used to
I used to call us the meerkats. Because you'd see us all like that, about 20 going, yeah, lad, the graphs on, let's fucking go, lad. And they'd be bang straight into there.
And that was like, how old was you when you were doing all that, John?
Probably about 20, in my 20s, early 20s.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just after the bands had
been overturned and that, yeah. Oh, fucking hell, mate, and it was just a free-for-all, was it, yeah?
It was fucking chaos. Absolutely.
And obviously going and...
Don't forget, Amsterdam, like Holland and stuff like that, Belgium, Brussels, you had to smoke weed. You were going to smoke weed, so you used to go and get stoned and then go and raid the trackie shops. Because you remember everyone in Liverpool in them days, they all had trackies on.
Like Lacoste trackies and Sergio, all everything, all that clobbered and all that, like, but you know, from going there, a lot of friendships made and stuff with that, like lads who were from all over Liverpool or, you know, whatever. I
met a few people who were abroad as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I used to go in coffee shops and stuff, and I used to get to know like a few of the Moroccans and stuff like that. So
yeah,
you knew if you were onto weed, then they're the people to get you.
That's
weed
that you could go to, and obviously later in life if you needed to.
I remember going to Grasshopper and the Bulldogs years and years and years ago, and you're walking in going, what the fuck? But it's just weeds everywhere, but it was more hash then.
Yeah.
And little bits of green. It's not like,
now,
like today's stuff. Today's stuff, it's rootless, isn't it?
Fucking, I think when you figured it out, I always say this, like you see these young kids now smoking it, and if they're smoking 3 or 4 20 bags a day, that's a fucking habit, mate. Yeah. At the end of the, when you work it out, what they're spending money on, and
they don't realise what they're spending each month. And then
what's in it, John?
I'm spending $1,000. So obviously I work with kids and stuff, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
I've ended up having a few kids a few years ago, and I've done drug tests for them all. And 4 kids off the same estate tested positive for heroin, opiates. So I knew they weren't taking smack.
They weren't taking brown, but that's...
Yeah, but what we determined, right, so I brought them in, I went, look, I said, 4 years, I went, you all live on the same, you've all tested positive for heroin.
And what was their reactions like, John?
Shit themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you mean? We said, we don't such smack. I said, I know, but something just doesn't work out, it's happening.
What are you taking?
So I said, bring me a bit of weed in. Brought me a bit of green in the next day. I tested a bit of it, smacking it.
In the green?
Yeah. So, but what happens with, like, if you put heroin into a key of green and you seal it up and you shake it, because
it's all
it doesn't, it sticks to the THC.
Right.
Because if you get green when it's pretty like, not dry, but if you get green that's damp, then you can touch that, your hands are sticky. So you can imagine them shaking a load of gear in it. And then all that does to you, instead of buying like two £20 bags a week, you're going buying 5, 6, 7 bags a week.
Yeah.
So being a drug dealer, you have to maximise your profits, but there's means and ways of doing it. And some people just don't give a fuck.
But no, obviously, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's like when Coke first come in, like we were bashing it with benzocaine and stuff.
Benz, yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, a lot of people didn't know what we were doing then.
Yeah.
But I think the likes of the Charlie, I'd say more towards the late 80s, early 90s, it started coming in bulk. I remember like 85, 86, 87, it was more city drugs in London because no one could really afford it, £100.
All the big wigs and all that, yeah.
Because I remember down there years ago where all the city people used to walk around with like a box with a phone that had a
chain.
Yeah, no, it had a cord to it, didn't it? And they were all the city boys who were sort of snorting Charlie.
Yeah, that's where it probably, and then it just went mad, didn't it? You know what I mean?
I bumped into my mate last year. I went, "Where the fuck have you been?" He went, "So," he said, "I've been got nicked, didn't I?" I said, "What for?" He said, "There should have been fraud." I went, "Why?" He went, "I got nicked with Charlie." He said, "I fucking come back at 2%. I went, "You should have got fucking done for fraud."
What?
But that's what's happening now. People are just having the fucking life out of it. Like,
it's crackers, isn't it? It's absolutely bonkers. But do you know what I want to touch on as well before we get on to, you know, obviously the drugs and the, you know, the criminality and stuff? The keys to Goodison Park, mate, that is fucking unbelievable.
That was in, I think it was either 1983, 84 or 84, 85. I can't remember which one. I was only about 13, 14. And again, the park end was away support.
Yeah.
If you remember, you had a little piece here where you stood. Then you had the big blue walls in you and you'd have the upper stand. So me and my mate were playing footy on the goal at the park end. So taking
penalties. The ground.
Yeah, we used to get in all the time. We just used to live right by it. So we knew how to get in there all the time. So we'd get in there and I remember playing footy on there one night and never forget the old guy. He was an owl fella with, remember them old beige Macs and a flat cap. I'll never forget him because I can still picture him now. Because as he's, "Get out, you little fuckers." I've gone, "Fuck off, fucking owl cunts." And then as you're running out, you know where the park ends is, used to be a big door. Yeah. So there used to be a little door in it, didn't he?
Did he let you out as well? Yeah.
Well, the door was open where he was chasing us out, but he'd left the keys in, and I've looked at the keys and looked at him, and you know when you see someone in slow motion go,
"No!"
I've gone, "Yeah." And I've took the bunch of keys, and I always remember them plod whistles, like the silver one.
Yeah.
I always remember them on it, and I didn't want to rob Everton. I loved Everton. I didn't want to. I had the keys to the alarms. I had the keys to the whole fucking ground. And I didn't want to rob them because I loved Everton.
It was your footy team, innit?
But when we used to have to get in, we'd either bunk in or we'd go in the doors when they opened for 3/4 time. Yeah. And that's when you get into what's the last 10 or 15 minutes of the game. Yeah, the gates,
so yeah.
And then it goes back the next night, and I think there was about 6 or 7 doors in the Gladys Street because that's where everyone went at that time.
Yeah.
And I've gone there, trying all the keys, and then I found the key that opens it. So I had the master key that opened the 6 doors. But if you'd gone in this door, you'd have to go upstairs, go that way and go back down to get to the next door.
So you just wanted to fucking
You couldn't get in all the doors at once. So my nickname was Vid. So there's a story to that. I'm not going into it. But there's every game there'd be, "Where's Vid? Where's Vid?" I'd have all 400, 500, 600 people going in the match every week. I'd just be open.
Was you charging them?
But I had a bobble at. So there was fivers going in it, there was pound coins going in it, there was pound notes, I think was still out as well.
Yeah.
And you probably have 3, 4, 5, 600 quid.
And that was at what, fucking
14. 13, 14, 15.
From that early age, John, it was just sort of in your head where, you know, you were fucking like a little bit of an entrepreneur in a way.
You just want money, and I'll be honest with you, it was all about getting clobber. It was all about trackies, trainees and stuff like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Marathon TR, LA Trainer. You know, stuff like that. They were the trainees, like Wade Smith.
Remember Wade Smith in town?
So I remember Wade Smith, where it used to be by the bar. So you walk down Bowl Street, it used to be a little shop. Yeah. Just off it there, and I remember it was just trainers. And I remember like Adidas Munchen and stuff. Now we'd seen them in Germany when we were over there with the footy and stuff.
And then when he fucking...
Yeah, and then they were all over here, yeah. So...
Then Wade Smith moved to the bottom by Matthew Street, didn't it, on the corner?
Yeah, so they opened the big shop
the big one there.
Yeah.
Remember it?
But that was a great shop, Wade Smith. It changed a lot in Liverpool, Wade Smith.
Yeah, I remember it.
This thing, you know, like Jockey Brendan does
Transalpino, yeah, Jockey.
So Jockey, I grew up with Jockey.
He's from Kirkdale,
and he's fucking boss Jockey. He's a proper good lad.
And listen, he went through a bit of tough time, Jockey, and he fucking come up the other side, mate.
Jockey was obviously involved in the gear and stuff years ago. A lot of our people were, but there was a lot of people that just fucking ruined lives.
And they come up the other side, John.
Look at him now, mate. I'd take me hat off to Jockey.
He's thriving, mate. It's good to see.
Yeah, he's brilliant, mate. He's a lovely guy. Him and his partner, two proper good people.
And it's great to see their fucking brand grow so big, you know. And
I was in bloody Thailand or somewhere not long ago, last year or something.
Did you bump into him?
I've seen someone walk past with a fucking Alpino, a Thai lad, and I've just looked and I just giggled to myself and I thought, you know what, fair play. I love people like us who have done something good in their life and the progression to be successful, you know what I mean? Because we grew up with fuck all of us, you know what I mean? And lots of it.
You know, and that's the thing, no, John, it's like, people, you got to do certain things in life to, you know, all right, I know sometimes, you know, you've got to do what you've got to do to put food on the table and stuff like that, and I get that. But there's other situations where people do get involved, and, you know, like your story, what we're going to get well into in a minute is, you know, you've seen the money side of it, you wanted this, and obviously, you know, you're not going to school and stuff, and the way, what you knew was by going and doing what you've done, like grafting and earning money.
I'm proud of some of the stuff.
No,
I've done, you know what I mean? I never robbed houses, but I robbed businesses and stuff like that, but it was just a feed of weed up at that everyone had.
Yeah.
We used to sell weed at my mate's little shed.
Yeah.
You know, I remember like obviously I was dark-skinned as a kid. I did get called a lot of shit names when I was a kid and didn't like it, but I was hanging around with people. So here's a funny one. I was hanging around with people who were calling people racial names, sitting there smoking weed, listening to Bob Marley with a fucking John Barnes top on. And I'm like, I just don't understand. Yeah, but these are different, aren't they? I go, no, they're not fucking different. But I got it till I was about 13 or something, and then obviously tables have changed.
Yeah, you started, you know, you're looking after yourself. Well, you could handle yourself and whatever.
The thing is, I never got called, and I think that's what I was happy about.
Yeah.
But the key, I've still got the key.
Yeah.
I've still got the key.
I just said that to him before. I'm sure he's still got the key.
I've done, you know where you can buy like your little blocks now for the new ground. I've got John Burton. I had the key on it. That's priceless because
the tiles at the new
so
stadium.
Anyone who knows will just giggle when they see it. People are looking and goes, "What do you mean? I had the key? I had the fucking keys to Goodison."
So they'll know the story of it.
Yeah. But God, there used to be loads of people waiting by the church for us.
Did you make a few quid each game, John?
Yeah. I think it was about the second to last game of the season, and I'm opening the fucking door and there's a busy standing there, and I'm going, shit, shut the door, locked him in. Now, I knew he couldn't get to the other doors quick enough because he's got to go up the stairs.
And come down.
Yeah, so I've gone and opened all the doors then because I knew they were going to change the locks. And I went back about 2 nights later, they changed all the locks. I was fucking fuming.
But you had a good run on it though.
Yeah.
What was the funny story of the season tickets, mate?
Oh, that was, do you know where the Everton shop is now?
Yeah.
So where the Everton shop is, there used to be like an old building there, but it was a nightclub, and it was a printers and something, a little shop underneath or something. And I think probably July, it was the year after I had the key.
Yeah.
I've got in there, there's a few of us in there, we're just robbing just to try and get about 20 quid or something.
Just to go and buy some weed or something.
Weed, yeah. And we're in there, and I think there was a few hangers on in there, and me and two of my mates, Jared and John, and I've looked, there's these 3 bin bags, you know, just on the floor, and I've just looked like that in the season ticket books. But then I've looked and I've gone, fucking 85.
Remember them season ticket books?
Yeah, so they were only little books where you just...
But the paper, they used to rip them out, you give them in at the
So I folded them up, I went to the lads, come on, let's get off. So I've got out of there, and I've said to my mates, come on, we're going back. And he went, why? I went, just come and have a look what I've grafted in here. And we ended up with 400 season tickets for Everton and 400 season tickets for Liverpool.
And did you spin them?
40 quid each, all of them, yeah. And then I think there was probably 3/4 of the way through the season. It was mayhem in Liverpool because there was loads of duplicate tickets, weren't they?
Yeah.
So they started I think towards the end, people were getting nick with them, but...
You know what, say obviously where they come
40 quid, they had to go fucking run.
Fucking hell. But I know, imagine
But
that.
there used to be, Effrey's Printers used to be outside Goodison, and he had another one on Blessington Road, which was right by the Liverpool one. We went up and fucking robbed that, but there was nothing in there, so we must have all been in the Everton one.
So you thought you were going to get double
up?
Yeah,
you thought you were going to get double up, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he thought if he had one shop here, he had another shop there, where you'd just try and capitalise on and double up, wouldn't he?
Fuck.
Do you know one of the best graphs I've ever done? Council houses, growing up as kids. What colour was the toilet seat? They were all black. Every one of them were black. And I gets moved from Liverpool right to Skem. So all my nan and my family and all that lived in Skem. And I gets moved up there, must have been about 15, 16. And 84, 85, 86, everyone's toilet seats were black. So I'm grafting over in Gillybrands, where there's like units and warehouses and stuff like that. And I've cottoned onto this shed. It was about 40...
Containers, and that was the...
No, this was a shed about 40, 50 foot long, with a fence and a gap about that big at the top. But I could see all like plastic. I've gone, what the fuck's that? I had to look and pull them up. They were all toilet seats. But they was white, blue, green, pink. And I thought, you know what, sound, I'll just grab a few of them for me nan and my aunties and that. Fucking hell, mate. It got to that. I was getting about 40 of them a night and getting a £5 each for them.
Was you?
Yeah. And I used to have 3 lads who were doing the markets. They couldn't get enough of them.
They were selling out.
Everyone had black toilet seats, unless in council houses, unless you had like, if you remember, you go into someone's house and they'd have like a peach bath, a peach toilet and a peach sink, or a green bath, green toilet and sink.
Hell, yeah.
But you knew they had their own houses and stuff.
Yeah.
But like the council houses all had black.
But they were selling out of them on the market and that. On Grady and that all fucking cheap.
Fortune on it, yeah. But I used to go over a wheelbarrow and just get like 20, 25 and then go back at another 25. And in Skem, there's no traffic lights. So everything's roundabouts and subways. Yeah. So I was just grafting them for ages.
Was you?
Yeah, it was fucking great. And then I met Andrew Shach. Andrew's great. Do you know what? He's probably just on getting out, Andrew. I think he's just finishing about a 35, Andrew.
Yeah.
But proper fucking good lad, Andrew.
So how did you and Andrew become friends and stuff?
Just because I moved to Skem.
Yeah.
I think Skem was quiet until I got there and met Andrew. and then next minute, we were shooting guns up at the Beacon. We were robbing cars, burning Granada 4x4 Scorpios.
All these cars,
we were robbing them and just burning them out on the Beacon and stuff. Yeah.
So we just on a fucking path to like these. What's the name, John?
I was just hard work as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, I was a good lad, but I was a little fucker.
You're just up to mischief and stuff, and then it leads to, and that's what we're going to get into.
I had it as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I couldn't.
From an early age, John, what you told us.
You know, my mum and dad, they didn't have to sort of help me and stuff, but I just had priest there all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I was what you call the black sheep of the family, and I think
I was going to say that before when you were saying about your 2 brothers and that, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, was you the black sheep? But it's one of them, John. It's sort of like, you know, to where you're at now and what we're going to get into.
I always believe your life's planned out for you.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have been in jail all that time or been doing what I would do, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today, and I get total satisfaction out of what I do. I love what I do. Yeah. I love watching people's lives change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're not only
for the better, obviously, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're not only changing their lives, you're changing the families and the kids' lives. Because, look, if we go to jail and we've got a birds and kids, we're the breadwinners, you know, especially in them days. You know, for me, it was, you know, I was all right. I was earning a lot of money, so I had money put away and I made sure everyone was all right. But if you go to jail and your family have got fuck all, you're basically in jail with heat, food, showers. Your birds got fuck all.
And they're struggling to fucking, you know what I mean? It's that. But, you know, the start of it all, John, you know, the organised crime, like the, you know, the drug dealing to the big scale. When did that fucking start, mate?
I think it was Quadrant Park was the start of it, really. Don't get me wrong, I was selling weed before that.
Yeah.
And then obviously trips. I think at that time you had Purple Arts and Micro Dots. Yeah. And then just after that, you started getting blotting paper ones with like strawberries, MBS, window panes. Yeah. You'd have all different types of trips, wouldn't you? And then I think it was like you go like 18, something like that. You'd be going into like Images and stuff like that in town. And at 20 to 2, they go, they'd slow the music down. You go neck a fucking ugly bird on the dance floor, whoever was left, wouldn't you? But then when you go into the Quadrant Park,
it was tablets.
I'd gone in and I'd gone, fucking hell, like, what, you know.
Quadrant Park was in Bootle, people who don't know.
Yeah, Quadrant Park was probably the first rave venue, probably, that I'd known about. And I'd gone in there and I didn't know what the fuck I was walking into. It was like, just like a crazy fucking rave with people with whistles, glow sticks, tops off. It was just mental.
In Bootle, wasn't it?
And people trying to hug you, and you're a scouse, you're going, fuck off you. But as minute I always remember, I had a brown disco biscuit. Yeah. That was the first tablet I had.
Do you have a full one? Or?
I just had half first because you were still a bit wary what it was.
What's in it or whatever, what it does. Yeah.
I remember having half, and then I remember being half an hour going shit, and then I don't know what happens after that, but I just had the best night of my life.
Hugging people and saying, I love you, mate, and all that.
And then for the first few years there, it was great until like people started fucking going in and having people off and robbing people, and everything about ecstasy was all about the love scene, weren't it?
Dancing and
Yeah,
loving
you
and
didn't,
all that.
once you had that pill down, you just didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
You were just, you know, whether you thought you were an hard case of lunatic or what, you weren't asked. You were on the middle of the dance floor,
Giving it
off
a
your
bit.
fucking barnet with someone's glow stick fucking bouncing around like a lunatic.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think it was the week after that I wanted to go back. And you couldn't really go and say to your man, "Here's 50 quid. You know, you're talking like 1988 here. And it was like, what do we do? So we went and got a couple of, I think it was about 150 tablets, the first one. We'd done them within an hour.
What was you selling for? Like at 20 quid each?
20 quid, yeah.
20 quid each.
I was getting them, at that time, I got them for 12 quid laid on.
Yeah.
But you'd still made. You
Fucking 8 quid on every one.
Yeah, you'd come out with a grand odd, but you'd have your weekend. Your money would all be rolled up and thrown in a little bag under your bed until you come round on the Monday. But then you didn't expect to be earning what was there. And then when you've done your count up and you're thinking...
You're paying whoever you've got to...
Yeah, you paid them back, but then you're looking at it and you're thinking, fucking hell. And there's dough there.
Yeah.
So then the week later it was 500. You sold them within 2 hours. I had a couple of the lads who were on the door there, looked after me. And then obviously started doing them in different clubs with different people in town.
That's it, it's sorted. So the quad was where it started for
Yeah,
you,
I'd say so, yeah. Because it was like the quad, and I always remember going over, so you remember the drone?
Yeah, I used to go to the drone.
So I bought the drone.
Yeah.
So I brought the drone later on. I'll come to that story in a bit. But we ended up buying the drone. And I'd gone to the drone in 92, 93. I met a bear from Runcorn there.
Yeah.
And I ended up, I'd say it was her and her mum that probably saved me from either being dead or being in jail at an early age.
Yeah.
And I ended up moving down here for a couple of years, and I think that was the turning point in my life, and I always respect and thank them for it.
Yeah. There's Rome in Birkenhead. I remember going, you had like Tricks, Carl Cox and that.
Carl Cox, yeah.
I think we went our first time to the Drome, 95 we went.
Yeah.
I was only about 15, I think. Me and Walshy, Fred, all the lads and stuff, and I remember Tommy Spare, who's no longer here. Remember
Tommy, mate?
Yeah,
Love
Tommy Spare,
lovely kids.
Jay Farrington, all of them, because we used to look up to them. And we go, yeah, we're going to go. And I remember going 95, and it was...
Yeah, I bought it in, I think me and my partners bought it in 99.
Yeah.
And we wanted to turn it into a lap dancing club, but at that time I was doing the ciggies. I'll tell you about that.
Yeah.
And we were earning that much money on the ciggies, we didn't know what the fuck to do with it. You're buying silly cars, watches, houses, just going fucking mental. But we ended up buying a drone, and we wanted to turn it into a lap dancing club, but the council were having none of it.
Yeah.
And they said, would you be interested in this club over here? So from the drone, there was a club called Atmosphere.
Hamilton Square, it was based on.
Yeah, so do you ever remember where Blake's Ford is? So as you come out the Birkenhead Tunnel, you'd have to go past Blake's Ford, and there was a building there.
Right.
And that was Atmosphere, but that was up for, I think we paid 100 odd grand for the drone. And I think the Atmosphere Club was up for 375, and the council was saying, you know, would you be interested? Well, it's triple what we pay for it. They wanted to knock the drone down.
Yeah.
Now, they said to us, look, we'll do a straight swap with you for the drone. And I said, but what about the lap dancing licence? I said, because that's partly what we're trying to do, is just create a gentleman's club and have a lap dancing bar. Okay, we looked at it, said no. Then we said, no, we're not selling it, then we'll just leave it to rot. And then they come back and said, look, we'll give you a licence for 12 months. And obviously they give us the lap dancing licence, but they wouldn't let the birds take the knickers off. You know what I mean? It was strictly like, you had to be 12 inches away. We had the council there all the time, measuring people with fucking rulers.
I was going to say, they measured...
It was a fucking nightmare. Honest to God, it was an absolute nightmare. Yeah. And then you'd have people coming in and going, yeah, lads, I'm just going to pay the 270 to Liverpool and see a fanny for a 5. That's what you'd have to deal with, you know what I mean? But it was fucking mental in there. Yeah. It was fucking mental in there, honest to God.
And is that because obviously, like, you had that much money, John? Was that
we spent a fortune on it. It weren't just me, because I had a few partners who were businessmen, you know what I mean? So, you know, we did put a lot of money into it, but I bet you now it was probably the biggest and the best lap dancing club in the whole of the UK at the time. I think the nearest one to it, and if you go back to like 99, 2000, I don't think there was many lap dancing clubs anyway. It was 2002 with Spearmint Rhinos and stuff were open, but we were open before it. Yeah. I remember on Friday, Saturday nights, we had 35 birds on in there.
And it was full, chocker.
Chocker, yeah. I think it was the biggest one, so it was about 500 or 600 capacity. And it was like, at the start, it was like, like when something's like a gimmick to start with, everyone wants to be in there.
Everyone wants a piece of it.
Yeah, so like, obviously, for the first like 3, 4, 5 months, it was just fucking mob Friday and Saturday nights.
Was it, yeah?
And then, obviously, because the situation where the girls not being able to take their underwear down and stuff like that, it just caused a bit of thing in the end. And in the end, we ended up shutting the lap dancing club after a year. And we used to always say it's fucking chaos in here. So we ended up opening a nightclub called Chaos. And then we just had fucking mental raves in there.
Yeah, it's that, yeah. So from that, John, was it like, from what you were earning money-wise, was it just going into property and everything? And
Yeah, because I think, but also we put a lot of money back into buying our own ciggies, because like everyone thinks now, like I've done podcasts where you were earning 3 million quid a week. And we were turning over 3 million quid a week. You're turning over between 4 and 500 grand a day, 5 days a week, but it was all cash, you know, so you were earning it.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
weren't your money, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I had people like mafia people I was working with. They need paying.
Costs, overheads and all that, yeah.
Customs officers need paying. Your lads need paying. Slaughters need paying. Cover needs paying. And you'd be lucky if you come out with 60, 70, 80 grand a day. But when you're fucking in your 20s, it's a fucking lot of money.
Of course it is. I was going to say, it's a lot of change,
So I was looking after all the lads, and then I was putting money away because I wanted to get it to where I started put in with them abroad. So whatever come over, we would have got. And I think for this, I said on a podcast, there was a Scottish fella that was involved in us. He was robbing them.
Yeah.
And he was robbing them, but set everyone up. So he ended up being like agent provocateur.
He was a fucking grass.
He was a fucking wrong'un, yeah.
He was a grass, yeah.
But he's put me onto, and I've said to him, he's taking skimming off every load that's come in. I've gone, you can't fucking do that.
Yeah, he's taking his own little...
fuck them, the fucking this, that, the other. And I went, no, you can't do it. So what he done one day, he phoned me up and said, look, I can't get to the airport. I'm stuck somewhere. Can you go and pick these 2 people up for me? So I've gone and picked them up. Unbeknown to me, that was the start of my observations.
You were under obs, like,
Yeah. So they come over, and I'd had them in a hotel for a day and a half. He didn't turn up. So they wanted money. I ended up giving them 50 grand out of the money we had put away for them. And they sort of off the pop home. And then they phoned me up about a week later and went, we want you to come over here. And I went, what for? I want to speak to you. I spoke to my mate, one of my best mates. He went, nah, you can't go.
Is that sketchy? Is it one of them? Was you like that?
I said, look, you've got 2 ways here. I said, you've got to look at it this way. Look, there's 2 ways. I'm either going to go and get killed, or I'm going to get on and do the graft myself.
We're going to cut the middleman out sort of thing, or whatever.
But I didn't like what he was doing to them, because I ended up staying with them for like a day and a half, but they were fucking really nice people. You know what I mean? And I got on with them. I got on with them, and they were 2 people you just fucking wouldn't play with. You know, they were fucking really high up where they were, and the 2 of them, you know, they were from the Far East, but they were fucking naughty fucking people.
Yeah.
You know, even though one of them was probably 5 foot, he was probably one of the naughtiest fuckers you would ever meet, but a lovely guy. And I'd only known them really for a day and a half. I had them in the Royal Albert Hotel in Manchester, and took them in, stayed with them, fed them, done everything with them.
Showed them about or whatever, yeah.
Put them on a flight back, and then they'd phone me up and said, will you come over? And I spoke to my mate, Robbie, you know Robbie. And Robbie said, nah. He said, you can't go. I said, but it's either I'm going to get killed, or it's a chance of a lifetime.
It's going to change a lot of things.
And he went, look, Bertie, he went, you can't go, mate. And I went, look, I'm going. And I ended up fucking off over on my own. And I've got over there, and as I've come out, I had a code word for the name, like he'd had a board up. And he was this big mush, about 6 foot odd. And he's picked me up, and we've gone in a Merc limo, and he's driving through the city. And like in that city, you know, when you stop by lights, the kids start washing.
Yeah.
He's wound the window down, just slap one of them, and I went, oh, come on, mate. And he's gone, shh. And I've gone, shit. So I've thought, something's fucking happening. I had a Nokia 3310 that was on a contract. And I said to Robbie, I went, look, when I get to the destination where I am,
I'll tell you
I'm going to phone you. I'm going to leave the phone on for a minute or 2. So if anything does happen to me, you've got a destination of where my fucking body is, basically.
Fucking hell, John, that must be scary.
Yeah, but you know what? It was one of them. And did they think they were going to do it to me? No, or I wouldn't have gone.
Did you just have a fucking, like, one of them feelings in your stomach where you go, this going to change a lot of things?
Die. That's the way I thought of it, was do or die. And he was going, you're not going. I went, I fucked off and went. And then I got up, as we'd gone up to where he lives, like, obviously he had armed guards outside, it's like a fucking big silly mansion.
Yeah.
And we've gone in there, and I'm still like edgy, phone's on, but not talking, if you get me. It's just so I've got a signal to where I am. And then he's come over, he's with his bird, he's hugged me and stuff, and I felt sound, and I was all right. And
Comfortable and all that, yeah.
But then I always remember, like, he had a Hummer, black Hummer with night tick on it. He had Ferraris, Porsches, like, you wouldn't believe what this there was about 16 cars in another house outside, and he was saying, just take anyone you want. But they were just brilliant, lovely people. And
you built up that,
but I didn't know until who he was, until we'd gone to a restaurant. Now X5s had not long been out. There was an X5 in front and X5 behind, and us in a Merc limousine getting took. We goes right through. We goes into this restaurant, and lovely posh restaurant. But as soon as we went into there, everyone just stopped and everyone stood up. And I've gone. Wow. And I've looked at his wife. His wife was Layla. She could talk English, where he really couldn't speak much English, other than he used to call me son and I call him Papa. And he used to sort of translate through his son or translate through his wife. And they just stopped. Everyone stopped. They all stood up.
Is that when you fucking knew he was big?
So I'm only in my 20s, and I said to Layla, I went, who the fuck is he? And she's just gone, she went, I'll tell you later. So they've brought us to this main table, and as soon as we've sat down, the whole of the fucking restaurant sat down. But then next minute there was a national football team in there, and they were all coming over, giving them envelopes and all that. And I went, fucking hell. Now, bearing in mind, I'd seen these people on television, watching them in the World Cups and stuff like that, and they're all sort of coming over, and I didn't know who this guy was, and believe me, he was only 5 foot, he was only small, and you wouldn't think nothing of it, but he was fucking very, very powerful, man.
Was he?
Yeah, and then we'd ate and all that, got back to the house and stuff like that, gets to bed, 8:30 in the morning, door gets pinged up, and I get dragged out of bed, all my bags, thrown in the back of an X5, me thrown in the back seat, head down, and fucking flew straight out of the house. So I'm thinking, what the fuck's going on here? So we ended up taking me back to the city, and they took me to the whole big massive hotel, and the manager come over, he went, John, I went, yeah, he said, look, you're in the presidential suite, anything you want, pay for, and I mean anything you can have. So 3 days I was there on my own, and I'm thinking, I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
That must have been scary, getting fucking dragged out of bed and food.
I just, because I never seen them, I didn't know what was happening, and then 3 days later they turned up, and basically that's when they said, look, we want you to take over the operation. Yeah, we know he's robbing us, and we know he's not right.
So they were on to him?
Yeah, they were on to him, and he said, we've got to sort of get him out of the way. I said, look, don't be doing nothing stupid. I went, because that's going to come back on me. Just let him fuck off out of the way, and just let us crack on. And we started cracking on, and I think our first container, I got home. On the way out the hotel, I got my flight. He took me in the Cartier shop, and he went, right, pick. I went, I'm all right. So he ended up buying me my bird at Cartier watch, men's and women's, and give me 10 grand to go home with.
And the Cartier watches, what are they setting you back, John?
I think they were Santos's, his and hers Santos, and probably about 8 grand, something like that at the time, maybe a little bit more or less.
And 10 grand to go home with as well.
Don't forget, I earned them a lot of money.
Yeah.
But like, we'd sat down with him and his business partner, and basically, I said, look, I've got to get something out of this long term. I said, it's not sort about, I'll do this and this and earn this money. I need to be a long term. I said, so what I want to do is get these done for yous. And I said, with the money we earn off that, I want to put it back in, and I want to jump on the tranny. Mm-hmm. I said, so whatever comes over, I said, I'll split it. I'll make sure everything's right. And they used to love the way our money was always bang on. It was always headed up, and it was always wrapped in different elastic bands. So every time they got money, they knew it was all bang on, and they knew it
wasn't short of fuck all.
No. And I always made sure, and they were always sort of, the only problem we ever had with money was jock money. They wanted,
Scottish money.
But for every £1 million in jock money we had to pay in to get sent over, they'd charge us 30 grand on it.
Really?
Yeah, because it was hard work to get rid of
like monopoly money in it, that's what people say.
But I always liked jock money because they had £100 notes. They had like £100 notes, where we only had the 50s at the time, and then obviously later on in Europe, when the euros come out, you'd have like €500 euro notes. £1 million was nothing. But then £1 million and 50 quid was just fucking bags full of money. And then,
So, but yeah, discreet and that.
And then it was like, I used to do all the money for them, and then I'd gone back over to them, and then I'd arranged, we paid all the money, got everything in for them, and then we arranged for 25 wagons, so they all had 30 to 32,000 sleeves in them.
40-foot containers, are they?
Yeah, and then we had the 40-foot containers full with 90,000 sleeves
to
in.
the fucking brim, John,
Yeah, and I thought, you know what, we'll hit it, get what we can out of it. It's fucking major millions. Do you know what I mean? So I thought...
Was you looking to like take a loss if anything gets
well, I knew I was taking a loss anyway. I still had money put away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
All
mean?
people,
because
you know, they were going to come through, but the people like the, you know, on the...
we had everything paid, that you weren't losing any.
Yeah, all right,
They were coming in, and a lot of people at that time were doing brandy, whiskey, vodka. So they were doing carousels on the containers. All we were doing was the ciggies, and like you had Benson and Hedges and Marlborough. I'd send them down south because you couldn't send them up north. And then you had your Super King Blues, Super King Black, Embassy No. 1, Regal King Size. Then you started getting like Sovereigns and stuff like that. And it was all duty frees. So they were proper ciggies, they weren't fake the way.
Yeah.
And everything was just coming in perfect. So I we put a lot of money back into it to get money back out. And then we'd arranged it, done it, and got home. The first 5 that come in, I think one was a legit one for up north and the rest were all for down south.
Yeah.
So I sent all that money over to them, and then I got nicked. And I got nicked with 16 wagons. There was 16 wagons in Europe, 4 wagons in the UK, and 4 containers on
24 fucking...
Yeah, so it worked out about 1.2 million sleeves. So you know the sleeves are like 200s. So it worked out about, I think it was about 1.2 million sleeves they had it down as, but in that money it was probably worth about 50 mil. In today's money you're probably talking 140 mil.
If it's
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you think about it, if you were selling like...
What was you spinning the cig? Like, I mean, not,
it
you probably been selling them in
anything from 16 to 20 quid, depends on what the product were. Now,
and how many they were taking or whatever.
But don't forget, I just have 2 customers that used to buy, like I'd have Scotland, I'd have Newcastle, Manchester, Birmingham, London. So, and you'd have your sort of cities around the country where 2 people would come up and buy that container. Do you know what I mean?
Bang,
so
there's the dough.
He might have 10,000 sleeves, he might have 20,000 sleeves. Do you know what I mean? So, like, we'd sort of just sell them to 2 people, and then we'd have like birds with bar tops and hot pants on counting the money, and they were at it. You know what I mean? We caught a few of them at it.
Fuck off there.
Yeah, because you had to do it, because if someone had come down and dropped 150 grand cash,
you haven't got fucking time to count that.
But in Barnsley, like the first one that come in, right, me and Robbie were up there, and Robbie didn't really know too much about it, what was going on. Said, look, I've got a container of ciggies, I've got to turn it round, I've got 24 hours to do it, let's see if we can do it. I fucking blitzed it like that. But then I think that was about 380 grand.
Yeah.
I had to fucking count it by hand in a hotel.
Now, John,
it's fucking great. It's lovely counting money, but then your head's, after so much, your head's going, you're like, shit. And then 6 hours later, you've got it all counted and stuff. And so the next day, I just went in.
Money counting machine?
Yeah, but to get money counting machines, you needed ID.
Oh, right.
So you would go in buying jewellery scales, you needed ID. So you had to sort of get a few people on the take.
No comebacks and that, so there's no comebacks on yourself.
And you know what, we were turning over, and like one of them would say, I'd say there's 150 grand. Every time there was 600 quid or 800 quid down. And I said, all right, sound. So I used to phone up, he said, John, fucking 100% was there. I went, all right, sound. So what we'd do is I'd meet them in a different place. I'd count the money with them. I'd put it back in the bag so it looked like I hadn't been counted. And I'd go and drop it off to one of the birds.
And that's how you fucking caught. Like,
yeah. And then obviously when she'd done the count, I went, well, what is it? It was 640 odd quid down. I went, okay, where is it? She went, well, that's all that's come. I went, it hasn't. Said, we've just counted it around the corner. I said, so you've got 2 minutes to get it out. And she had it rolled and saw that.
It's mad, isn't it?
But I wouldn't mind, they were on good money.
That's what I say, John. You know, people are, what they're doing.
But then what people don't realise is when you've just obviously had to get here and get it to fuck, you've got to then move your stash.
In case you fucking tell.
But if she tells anyone or speaks to any of your fellas or stuff like that, then they know where everything is. You know what I mean? So it was a case of having to...
As soon as you flag them, you fucking got to move stuff, yeah.
Loose lips sink ships.
Of course they do, yeah.
You know what I mean? But the ciggies, we were fucking hammering it. But we're going to London.
How long did that run for? How did that...
Well, it didn't run for that long, to be honest, because So unbeknown to me,
You were under obs, and you said, weren't you?
I'd gone under obs, but then the two come over again, and so we all ended up. So after probably when all that thing, we got nicked, and the two people who was working abroad with ended up getting them in a wagon and getting them out the country. So I took the jail for them, basically.
Yeah.
And to this day, I've never ever been in touch with them, but I know if I ever got in touch with them, I know, for instance, they'd do that and look after me. And I met some guy at, nearly said where they're from then. I met some guy in prison in 2012, and he come up to me as a foreign guy, and he went, "I've got a message for you." I went, "What do you mean you've got a message for me?" Now, bearing in mind, I got out in 2005 for the ciggies. They took me nightclub, they took me shops, they took me houses, they took everything basically I had, but I was fucking angry about it.
Was that like 14 million, was it, John? Confiscation order?
So what happens is when you got nicked with the ciggies, like, it was a white collar crime. Now we were making tablets and stuff before that, and then when Leah Betts died, the jail time and the tablets started going higher and higher. So we started getting back into weeds and stuff like that, and then obviously the ciggies later on. And when I got nicked, it was all in court. Now, bearing in mind, I got nicked the 14th of December 2000. I got sentenced on the 14th of March, I think it was, 2003. So it took me 3.5 years.
Was you remanded?
No, it took them 3.5 years to sentence me. Bearing in mind, it weren't the police that come for you, it was Customs and Excise. So I was sitting in David Lloyd in Kirby, and I just had a container delivered round to the units round the corner. On the estate? So I was on, I had me normal contract phone, and I had me, so I had like a silver Nokia that used to turn, like it was round here and it'd turn. Up, and I'd just been on it then. I've seen these fellas walking over to me like that, and I've thought nothing of it. And bearing in mind, I was pretty big at the time. And as the thing, they've grabbed me phones when Customs and Excise. I've just been on the phone to me graft. Yeah. And I'm thinking, you can't fucking have that phone. So as he's gone, John, it's not a thing. I've stood up, fuck off, but grabbed the phones. And then I've run through David Lloyd, whacked the back door, smashed them off the back. I just needed the chip. Just swallowed the chip. So I got the chip out, swallowed it, and launched the phone and gave them my contract phone. So they didn't really have much, but all the evidence they'd had, you know what the police or the customs are like, until they've got enough evidence, they're not going to come for you. And then they were coming near me, and I was going to start swatting them. And they were going, look, I was going, fuck off. So next minute, a load of busies come. And the busy said to me, he went, "You're okay, mate?" He went, "These are a fucking gang," because they didn't like each other. And the busy said, "Look," he said, "You going?" I said, "Yeah, mate, I'll come with you." So I'm not going near these cunts. Like that. So the busies didn't even handcuff me. They just walked me to the car and took me to...
Yeah, they didn't need to fucking put you all...
Yeah, and I think, where did I go? I can't remember whether I went to Longmore Lane or Copy Lane. I can't remember. It was Copy Lane. And obviously that's where all the evidence come out in it. So 2003, I remember this. So I hadn't bearing in mind, I didn't know this fella was grassing.
You know what I mean?
Because we kept him with us, but kept him out of the way. And... in court, he kept saying there was him and an Asian guy. The Asian guy was fucking staunch, lovely fella from Manchester. But this Jock kept saying, I can't do jail. I can't do jail. Now, there was 157 calls from them to the freight company and back. There was 2 calls from me because I was using internal phones either way. Yeah. And there was, so next minute, it kept drumming in my head, and I've gone to me mates. We pleaded guilty because we were all fucking, we were on it, we were nicked.
Bang to rights, like.
Him and the Asian guy pleaded not guilty. But all the way through, all he kept saying was, I can't do jail, I'm not going to jail, I'm not doing jail. And I had a really bad, funny feeling. And David Phillips was my solicitor at the time. And I said to David, go and put a PII on him. It's like a public inquiry where they have to tell you if he's a grass.
He was an informant and whatever.
Yeah. So they've released him without charge. So the next day we've gone to court and they've gone, well, where is he? He said, oh, they've released him without charge. There's no charges against him.
Oh, mate.
There's no charges against him. I said, there's fucking 157 calls to a fucking freight company and back to them. I went, where's not that? So I've said to me, I said, how do I find out what he's been involved in? He said, we can go in and ask for any cigarette cases he's been involved in. So we'll come back, he'd been involved in 7. I think ours was Operation Egret. And
he'd been involved in 7 other fucking cases.
Yeah, but also there was 2 people I'd met through him, like George from Bolivia, fucking lovely old guy George, and I mean one of the nicest guys you ever meet. He'd done the same to him and sent him to the airport because he had a bag of money to drop off. and he got nicked exactly the same way. So it was a pattern with him.
Yeah, he's fucking...
So it's like agent provocateur, where the customs would let him graft, earn his money as long as he put all them in along the way.
Fucking threw them to the wolves, mate.
Yeah, so we got us all nicked, yeah. And then goes to court for me, proceeds of crime. And they hit me with a £14 million tax evasion. Yeah. So I've said to the judge, and I'm playing crafty here, I've said to the judge, how have I evaded duty? He said, well, what it is, Mr. Burton. He said, when you cross English waters and come into the country, he said, there's a tax evasion. I said, yeah, I can understand that. I said, but what I can't understand is 16 of them consignments were still in Europe. I said, so if they haven't passed English waters, I went...
Still in fucking...
I haven't... He went, oh yeah, Mr. Burton, good point. He said to me, Simon Christie, I think his name was, he went, can you take them off as proceed to crime, please? He was fucking furious, the prosecutor, because the judge
it's right,
just...
though, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and
It's...
I think we got it down to like £1 million. And I think, like, obviously, they overestimated the earnings on the clubs, on the shops and on houses and stuff like that.
But they just going, John, with the...
Yeah, well, I had to sell them anyway, but the problem is they sold them off cheaper. So, say for instance, they said my share in the club was worth 200 grand. They sold it off for 60 grand or 70 grand to my partners, but then they still hit me with the 140
Would that not come off the bill, though, John?
Well, so 60 come off the bill. So I've gone, hang on a minute. So I've gone back to court and I've gone, I said, but they valued the assets, not me. I said, they've overvalued the assets, but yet they've sold them a lot cheaper. I went, so how does that leave me? So we ended up paying everything. And then they signed me off, took all my assets, everything, watches, everything you sort of made, they took. And I always remember it was like, there was a 400 grand deficit of it. And I said, but that 400 grand equates to what they sold cheap. So he said, all right, we'll get rid of that. He said, we'll put it on a benefit figure. So at that time, it was a confiscation order, pocket went out. So they hit me with the confiscation order, paid all that, and then he had the benefit figure on top of that. But from 14 million went down to like $1 million and then 600 grand.
Fucking hell, John.
But it's like pocket now, you're fucked. You know, I've been out of jail now 7 years. I got my pocket 10, 12 years ago.
And what is a pocket?
Proceed to Crime Act.
Right.
So obviously everything, what they do to you is they'll hit you with a pocket. So they'll say, we believe like a kilo of cocaine, they estimate it at £50 a gram or £100 a gram. Yeah. So 1,000 grams is at this, and this is what they say you've earned out of that. Yeah. When legally, if you're not getting coke from the source or you're getting it dropped into England, you're lucky if you're making £1 or £2 on it. But then they're hitting you for a pocket that's like stupid amounts.
Yeah, 10
we
times
believe
or
this,
fucking
we believe this, but actually you can't, because I weren't doing it like that.
You were just selling it in bulk or whatever.
And then I went to jail in 2003, and obviously I'd gone into jail. It was all over the papers of how much you'd been nicked with. So I've gone in like everyone's, fucking hell, how have you done that? What was you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And then I've started meeting other people in jail who have been into big grafts and stuff. And then when I got out, I just thought, you know what, you can all fuck off the authorities. I still had a few quid put away. I was all right while I was away, and when I got out, and then started getting into drugs then. Yeah.
So the first, like that sentence in 2003, how long did you do with there?
So I got 4 years. It was only white collar crime. So I got 4 years. And because I'd been on bail for just on 3.5 years and hadn't been in trouble, they knocked 6 months off for me.
Yeah,
so the judge said, look, he said, Mr. Burton, he said, you know, you've come here to court all the time. I know it's gone on for a hell of a long time. He went, I'm going to give you 4 years. He said, but I'm going to knock you 6 months off for your good behaviour. He said, and that means you're eligible for a tag. So I'd done 17 months in the fucking jug where, you know, for that, it was a good touch.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Touch, so, yeah. And I think like white collar crime, then you'd be lucky if you got 4s and 6s. Where now you're looking at 10s, 15, because it's just about that.
It's the money, that's like...
Look, you look at it now, a kilo of cocaine is worth more in jail than a 2-year-old sexually abused rape kid. And that to me just doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, but for me it just doesn't make sense, and that's what this it's like the proceeds of crime. You're fucked.
You know, John, I say this, and you know, people who want to buy drugs or whatever, or they ask for it.
Yeah.
Like you just hit on the head there about fucking kids or whatever, you know, abused. They don't ask for, and they get the fucking sentencing again, mate. I don't get my head round it at all.
I don't. It's just madness, honestly.
It's crazy. So from there, when you came out in that, John, Did you just, obviously you'd been in...
I was angry.
Was you angry? Yeah.
I was angry that I had, the way I seen it is I built a load of businesses up to make money and get myself out of the game. You fucking never get yourself out of the game. You get out of the game when you get nicked. You know what I mean? And it's very rare that anyone grafts and wins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the only way they are going to win is if they've got a fucking big mouth or they're very, very lucky.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's the only way in a drug world. If you're growing, the bigger you grow in a drug world, the bigger your fall is.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Getting to that there, and then the fucking falls a bit.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, you could be having smashing the arse out of it. Like in the drug game, like if you sent a ton of weed home, you're flying. But then if that ton of weed drops on the way, you're fucked. You're back to fucking square one. So whatever, how big you go, if you're not using your own money, then you're using other people's money.
And they want their fucking money as well, John.
That's what it's about, yeah.
So when obviously you come out, John, you were angry and stuff like that, and you were back at it then, because obviously you want to fucking claw back what you've lost and everything.
Back, yeah.
When did it all start, like, you know, fuck this, you know, was it straight away when you came out, or?
Yeah, as soon as I got out, I was on licence for a little bit anyway, but I was fucking everywhere anyway, I didn't care. And then I started getting back into the grafts, into the Spain and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I think we were doing pretty well, and then we had four losses on the run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
big shipments.
Yeah, but like we put onto stuff with people and we were trying to get ourselves back to normal. It started earning money, and then things started going down. So when they go down, then I'm looking thinking, fucking hell, I've had a fortune, I've got fuck all left and I owe money out now. And you're like, how the fuck?
Yeah.
Obviously you get all the paperwork to say obviously where the containers have been took down and stuff like that.
It's not as if you can go and fucking ask for them, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then we got a few grafts back home to get us back to a bit of normality, and then I think we'd had, me and my mate had, I think it was 2 ton of weed come over. And my mate at the time, he'd been arrested in December 2010 for a murder. And what's happened is they've raided his property, and I was in Spain at the time, and I said, look, I'll send someone in and sweep it. I said, don't talk in that fucking house. I said, because I knew what was going on with the murder. You know what I mean? I knew what happened and stuff, but I knew they planted bugs in him. And they found 2 bugs in his flat.
And they caught, like, whatever.
Yeah, but what he didn't have, he'd had one of these brand new tellies, and they had him through Wi-Fi on his telly. So they were watching him through a telly. You know what I mean? Yeah, they were watching, and this was in 2011. They were watching him through a telly, and what they did on that, when the weeds come into the country, he's phoned someone and went, get them bits up to my Scouse pal. So when they've come up to us, I had a squad on me. Now, where I'd used to put my stash was hard away from anyone, so I'd have them drop a van off where I could sit and watch it. And I was watching the van where, if I look back at the whole day, I knew the busies were there, if you get me, because I should have took more notice, but because everything was more of a rush, it was just, nah, we'll be fine. I moved the van, took it round to the stash, started to empty it, and someone turns up who started touching boxes and stuff with no gloves on. It ends up being a family member. I'm not going to go into it because you know what, it is what it is. I got nicked, and basically I followed his route. He'd gone to drop a key of weeds off somewhere, and I followed his route. Couldn't find him for 45 minutes. Went behind the police station. It was there. So only I got back to the stash with a little Berlingo full of fucking painting gear and my mates. I've ended up throwing loads of weeds in, some of them, and got the main stuff out. And there's only 240 key of weed left in there. So I thought, you know what? I had a bad feeling. And we got it away.
Yeah.
And then I'd gone round, said to me, mate, you know what? Park at the back, and I'll run over the cricket fields and I'll have a little mooch. And when I looked over, there was Plod sitting outside. So I knew he blew me up anyway.
Fucking blew you.
Yeah, but I'd only got nicked with 240 key of weed. It didn't warrant what I got. You know what I mean? And then I gets nicked. So he gets nicked. They come for me, couldn't charge me, put me in jail.
Remanded you?
Yeah. So I went for my JC because they had fuck all whatsoever on me and didn't have me anywhere near what was going on. So they let me out. I think I was out for about 10 days, and then they come and got me then again.
And then that's when it fucking...
And that's when they kept me in, yeah.
Yeah. And then everything else come with it.
Yeah, well, then seen the depths and seen everything happen. But what happened is when I got nicked then, I was in the cells, and I've come out to the desk on the sergeant, and I've seen loads of like my family's names on the board.
In the cells and that, you mean?
Well, I didn't know they were in the cells. I
Yeah.
thought it was on the board. No, what are all them names? You told they're all in the cells there. I went, you can fuck off, mate.
They got nothing to do with it, like.
No, they didn't have nothing to do
Yeah,
with it.
yeah.
And I said, look, get you me brief up. And I said, I sat down with the plod and me brief, and I went, look, went through the evidence. I'll admit to all them now. I said, I've got fuck all to do with them.
Yeah.
I said, let them out.
Fuck all to
They
do with
haven't
them.
do nothing, you know what I mean? So, ended up doing a deal in there with them over the charges. I got remanded and they let all them out. And I think I was in Walton then, and me co-accused escaped out of a prison van. And then basically from there, they cat-A'd me and took me...
Because they thought the same was going to...
Yeah, what they done is they put me in the block in Walton. And I've gone into the block after I have stripes on. So it was like a banana suit, blue and yellow suit.
Like a fucking... Like,
There was shit all over the walls. It was January 2012. It was fucking freezing. And there's no lights in there. I had a night light and wind up radio. And like the Home Office was supposed to make a decision in 72 hours about keeping me now. Bearing in mind it was a Friday when they took me down.
The weekend's coming.
The weekend was fucked anyway. Then they didn't make a decision all week. They were and ahhing on the week after. And I think it was about 17 days I was in the block. Now, bearing in mind I couldn't speak to my family. I couldn't speak to my solicitor. I couldn't come out of the cell until the jail was closed. I had to have me food brought in.
Were you pissing and shitting on that, John?
So in the toilet that was in there, a shower, I couldn't get a shower till like 7
yeah.
o'clock of the night. And then at 7 o'clock in the night when the jail's shut, they used to walk me around a little 10-foot cage, you know, just to get a little bit of, at the end of the
exercises.
End of the block in Walton, you've got like a cage in there where you can just have a little walk, and that's what I was like. But I was fucking me head had not gone, but
it was fucking, yeah. What is this
stuck
what it's
in
gonna
there
be?
now. Bearing in mind, I had scabs up here and up here off winding the radio up all the time. I was reading Martina Cole books of a day. They were fucking with me head anyway. The stuff that's in them is fucking mental. And then of a night time, I was sitting there listening to fucking Pete Price, driving myself fucking nuts. But it was probably the worst. Like, I tell you what, put it this way. But... No, but you know what? When they come and cat-A'd me, they took me to, they blue lighted me from Walton. I didn't even collect £200 for pass and goal, mate. They just took me straight to fucking Manchester.
To Strange Ways.
Yeah, but it was like, when I got in the cells in there, it was like walking into the fucking Hilton. Telly in there, lovely and warm, bed sound.
Where you'd fucking been.
Yeah, and then I had scabs all up me fucking arms, and I was fucking, it looked like I had fucking scabies or something.
I bet you were...
But stunk of shit down there. There was people doing like dirty protests and stuff down there. It was fucking minging.
That's what I'm saying, and you're in that environment, and
yeah.
Listen, I know you know you've done a crime and stuff, but that's fucking that's inhuman.
I reckon it took me 3 days in the because when I got to the Cat A unit, they said, look, you're not going on the proper unit for 7 days. You're getting ear monitored. I reckon it took me 3 days to get my shit together in that cell, because I was that like fucked up, confused, and I don't know. I was just just fucking messed up because
you didn't know where you're coming or
going.
Or
you speak to my family.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it was like 4 weeks nearly now before I spoke to my kids or anything, and then obviously the screws in there, right? And I buzz to this day off them, you know what I mean? But they were saying, like, monitoring me before they go in. They said, look, John, it's not the same on here. He went, there's 17 people on there. He went, one of them's going to stab you in the neck if they know you've got drugs. They're not going to give a fuck about you. And it's all about, they're all fucking mental in there, doing 20, 30, 40 years. So they were putting mental stuff in your head. So I'm fucking press-ups like that, fucking getting in the mirror, getting angry, because I thought, I'm going to walk in,
and
the first person who's near me, I'm just going to fucking hit them, and then just deal with it later on, you know what I mean?
But the screws saying that to fuck your head up, or...?
Yeah, it worked out, my mates were all on the fucking unit, weren't they? So I've gone in there like a fucking madman. And it was only 5 days, they'd monitor me and said, look, we're happy for you to go on now. He went, you ready? He went, yeah, give me 20 minutes, done about 400 fucking press-ups, get myself big again. And then I've just gone in there, and when people say you go in with a Cat A scare, you're like that, just fucking looking.
You're just clocking everyone.
Yeah, and then I've heard, now then, knobhead. And I've looked up at me mates and I went, you fucking pricks. The screws are laughing, these are laughing. But it would happen on the Cat A unit.
Seriously, John,
people just didn't give a fuck on there whatsoever. And you're dealing with, like, you know, these people on there I got on with fucking great. You know what I mean? Some stories on there was fucking mental.
But for you, John, mentally, for anybody who, you know, you go into jail and anyone who's locked up, that must have a psychological.
It's like, I remember Faruqi was doing 9 life sentences, but then you go in his padding areas with a fucking AK in Pakistan with a fucking AK. Well, no one's here doing fucking 9 life sentences for them. He was sound. There was an Israeli guy on there. My mate ends up really good mates with a guy from London, George, fucking lovely fucking fella. Couple of brothers on there, a few lads who've been doing robberies and stuff. You know, all the Manchester lads.
Yeah.
And there was a good crew of lads on there. I always remember there was a big kid on there, about 24 stone, bully. You know, one of them.
Yeah.
He used to just prey on people like, as soon as I've walked on that thing, he's gone, "Are you Burton?" I've gone, "Yeah." He went, "Have you got any drugs, mate? I'll just buy any drugs off you now. Any fucking drugs you've got." I went, "I haven't got drugs, mate. I don't touch them." I thought, you know what, stay away from him. He ended up getting boiled him.
Yeah, I was going to say, but did you see any of that?
So there was a kid on there, yeah, a young kid, lovely fucking kid. But
He'd had enough, had he?
This kid was just a fucking bully. He was a Man United supporter from Leeds, and the only reason he supported Man United because of that Sharpie, yeah. And Sharpie, his name was, he was a fucking mental case.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I've seen him with a mop bucket, a boy. So the mop bucket's like, you know the back of the jack have a radio?
Yeah.
So if you take that out, turn your plug off, so outside you had little bits of metal, you know, on through your window.
Yeah.
You break them off, put a piece in that way, a piece in that way, put it in the water and switch it on, so you've got yourself an element. So it boils the water. So you're getting water in your mop bucket from the hot water, but then it's not burny
It's
hot.
not hot, but this is fucking boiling.
So he leaves that on boiling, puts sugar, loads of sugar in and chocolate, and it makes it like a syrup. And I'm on the phone, and he's come down and he goes, "Yeah, he went, you're going to get off the phone now while I do this," going like that, and I'm just giggling. But fuck me, he just poured the fucking whole mop bucket right over him.
Like kettles
right over him, and then as he's done that, he couldn't get, and the lads have just come whacking him with snooker board. It was fucking mental on there. It was fucking mental. And then the Iranian guy, a few days later, me and George are sitting there and we're just having a giggle, making toast, playing pool. And this Iranian guy's come out, but he had a beard and that, right? But he come out dressed as a mummy. So what he'd done is wrapped himself around with toilet paper. Now, I didn't know whether he was doing, they wouldn't give him fuck all in their visits, anything. And I said to George, "What this cunt here doing?" So me and George were stoned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'd had a bit of poly and we both having a little giggle. And I've looked and I've gone, "What the fuck's this cunt doing here like that?" And he's come out and he's going, "Hey!" You know, like that. But he mustn't have realised how quick toilet paper lights. So he's fucking lit it up there. But Tony, he's just gone, woof.
Just gone.
I've just fell off my chair laughing.
He's stoned.
George is just fucking in bulk. He's running around the wing bouncing because he didn't realise how much the toilet paper
would
had
go up.
burned. And my mate's trying to fucking bucket of boiling water up and out of the thing. He ended up getting a recommendation and getting out 10 months early for burning them with boiling water to put them out.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking mental on there. But mental, when I say, is probably the best part of the jail I've done, because no one's talking about getting out. No one's talking about getting to the Cat B, Cat C, Cat D.
Had you been sentenced then, or?
No, I hadn't got sentenced. And then I goes for sentence. Bearing in mind, like, I hadn't seen my kids then for probably 5 months, where, like, my kids for me was like, it was just seeing them was good. It took them 4 months to get vetted to come in.
What do you mean vetted, John?
So the police had to go out.
It's your own fucking kids.
Yeah, but the police have to go out. They have to. So they checked me birds. I was a bit of birds at the time, and they checked their shoes, checked everything in the house, like made sure it was there. And then I remember my first visit. She come in, and I'm sitting here. She's sitting there, and there's a screw here and a screw there. I'm in stripes, so I've still got a blue and yellow.
So you visit, you got 2 screws sitting with you.
Yeah. So this is my first visit. I've waited 4 months for it. And I've gone, "Baby, I can't touch him." Gone, "Baby, you're okay." And he's wrote, "Baby, you're okay." She said something, he's wrote that. And I've said, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's wrote, "What the fuck are you doing?" So everything I was saying, basically.
You recording
yeah,
it,
and
like...
I just said, you know, after about 20 minutes, I went, "Look," I said, "I can't fucking do this." And she's in tears, fucking screaming.
She's not seeing you for fucking
yeah,
long,
yeah. And then, do you know what she was going, I don't know whether I can do this anymore. I don't know whether I can do this anymore. And I didn't have kids, so you know what I thought? I'm going to get fucking every sentence anyway. So I just, I think the second time she come in the kids, but where the Cat A unit is in strange ways, it's in the middle of the jail. So your normal visitors go into the outside of the jail and up to the visitor, where our visitors have to walk through the jail. You have to walk through the jail with screws with 4L stations around them. So my daughter was only young. My lads was 3 years older than her. I've got 3 people in Berkers behind them. The fucking dog's going mental. My daughter she was an absolute mess when she got in there. Only that, like, then the screws, I didn't have to sit down and write, and I just seen the kids, and it just sort of...
Give them a hug and all that.
And then the girl I was with, like, she was fucking distraught, and I thought, she lived in a normal house with a normal family, and I thought, I can't put her through this. And I phoned, when I got to the back of the cell, I just phoned her. I went, look, I love you. I went, but I need to do this for you. I went, look, I'm taking your number off the pin. I'm never going to see you again. I went, I love you. I'll always respect you, but take care. Put the phone down. Never spoke to her ever again. I did when I got out.
Yeah.
But I thought,
and did she understand when you got out, John? And...
She was fucking furious at first, furious. But I knew I was getting every sentence, and I thought, I'm not having someone waiting
putting
around
it through that and all that.
And then all the chatter comes about, oh, your bird, I reckon your bird's doing this, your bird's doing that.
Your fucking head's going west.
So I've seen a lot of people fucking lose the plot in jail over the birds.
Because someone's fucking said some bullshit or something.
But even like jail paranoia, I've seen like a lot of people using phones, and you better fucking get home, get out with your fucking mates. And I've seen it all the time. And I've seen people just literally destroy them fucking selves over birds while they're in prison.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, look, at the end of the day, your bird's not being nicked. You've been nicked. It doesn't mean she has to fucking stay in and not go out and stuff like that. But then it's all jail paranoia. It just plays with your head.
Because you fucking got, you can't do nothing.
It's probably the best thing I ever done, Tony, to be honest. One, to let her go, and 2, it just stopped me from having hassle.
And your head being fucked up as well,
Yeah,
John.
and then obviously I goes to court, and I get 14 years. But because I threw my hands in early in the police station, I got a 33% discount.
So what was?
So they took it down to 9.5 years.
But John, that's still a big sentence, that, though, mate.
But I gets back to the Cat A unit, and the screws call you in. No, you can't speak to a screw. You've got to stand a metre away from them. Like, if the officer's there, there's a piece of tape there. You're not allowed to pass that. They're talking. He went, look, John, you never got 10 years or more, mate. He went, it looks like we're not going to keep you on here. I was fucking buzzing. But then the next day, the police went and raided all my family and charged them all with money laundering offences. So they tried to keep me on the Cat A unit. And then I remember one time they were fucking horrible. They've come in one day, said, look, we need to have an interview with the tapes and all that. I went, sound, you're all right. I said, just tell me when you're ready. They're getting search coming in, search going out. Gets there at 10:30, fucking around, said, I need a cup of tea in a Mars bar. I knew what I was doing. And then come to 11 o'clock, the screws went, right, he's got to go back for dinner. So I said to the screw, take me back. So I've gone back, had me dinner, come back out. I've had to go through all the rigmarole again, getting there. And then they put the tape on. And he's gone, right, my name's Sergeant blah, blah, my name's Dave. I've got John Burton here. And John, I'm going to start asking you questions. And I said, you know what, mate? Don't fucking bother, because I'm not going to fucking talk to you. And I've got no interest in talking to you. You fucked my life up. I said, there's a fucking day you fuck up for you. So I went to the screw, take me back. And took me back to cell. And they fucking nicked all me out. I ended up taking another 5 years for them to keep them out of jail.
Yeah.
So I ended up with a 19-year sentence, basically dropped down to a 12-year sentence with early guilty pleas.
Yeah.
And then I think I come off the uni. I ended up going to Garth. I was in Garth for about a year or so. And then I tried to get me Cat C and moved to Averick or Lindsay. But then I stopped the screw from getting twatted in there. And there was a little, went off on the wing. And there was a woman in there, Jackie. She was sound Jackie, normal little screw, small. And when it's gone off on the wing, there's a fella screw here and Jackie. Well, the kid's gone to this here with a table leg, and I've just grabbed her and put her behind me. I went, come near there with that. I went, I want to fucking kill you. He went, what are you doing? Fucking backing screws up. I went, yeah, there's a fella there. Go and fuck him. I said, you're not fucking hitting a woman while I'm here.
Yeah, yeah.
And Jackie had respect for me for that. And then when I tried to move, she come and said, look, she went, there's a police about you. She went, they want you out in the Northwest. I went, for what reason?
Northwest jail, didn't want you to...
Northwest jails, yeah. He said, you've got too much influence on the drug culture, cons and prison officers. I went, what the fuck are you on about? So I ended up getting then a move to Oakwood. Oakwood had just opened.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it was fucking unbelievable. It's like I walked in, brand new cell, underfloor eating, bed, shower, all brand new, widescreen telly, digibox with all my fucking movies on.
Yeah, yeah.
I had about 2,000 movies and series and everything on it. It was fucking unreal. So it was a good move. Then done all my jail there. What changed me there, Tony? I'll tell you what it was, right? I had some jock holding me about 48 grand. And I phoned my mate up, and you know me mate.
Yeah.
I phoned him up, and I said, look, do me a favour, go and put fucking this cunt to bed. Meaning go fucking knock him out, get me money off him.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, NCA have come in now. I was working in reception, you know, like I used to go there in the afternoon, and all the prisoners coming in, I'd put you on wings where I thought would suit you, and get you, like, if you're on the gear, I'd get you on a wing to sort your shit out if you wanted it. If you were all right in one of us, I'd get you on our wing with us and get you looked after. If you were just rowdy, I'd put you on beach or cedar, you know, one of the other wings. And then I'm in there having a giggle and talking to the lads, and the next minute I've seen 2 NCA, you know, with the lanyards on.
Yeah.
And I've gone, oh, fucking hell.
Who they looking for?
Yeah, I went, some fucker's in fucking trouble here.
Yeah.
And then he's gone, John Burton. I gone, yeah, what? He went, can we have a word with you in the office? I ain't going in no fucking office with you, mate. I went, whatever you've got to say to me, you fucking say it right in front of me with these here. I went, I ain't
So you
going
got
in there.
witnesses in that, yeah.
And he went, it's an Osmond one and need you to sign it. And I went, what's that for? He went, it's a threat on a life. I went, my life? He went, no, someone's out there. I went, what the fuck's it got to do with me? He went, because you fucking made the fucking order from your pad 2 nights ago in your cell. I went, fuck off. I'll tell you what, mate, I got back there, got me mate to get my phone out, smashed it up and never used one ever again. And that was in 2014.
Yeah.
And I just went, you know what, bang, fuck, that's it, I'm done.
And that phone call, John, by just say, you know,
seven of us
got
Osmond warnings.
Listen, I want me fucking, don't give him a crack, you know, give him. But they're sort of making.
I said, put him a kip. Now, to me,
someone a kip.
Yeah, so when we say it's putting, you could be having an argument with your bird and you've got on a text message, oh, fuck off, I'll fucking kill you. You don't actually mean you're going to fucking kill her.
Yeah.
You know, and if they go to the police and say, look, he said he's going to kill me.
They follow that up by saying.
So for us, it's a figure of speech the way we used to talk, Scousers.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, shit after that, mate, I just went, you know what, I'm done. I just thought, if he'd have got fucked and died, I'd have got lifed off. And I was still doing the sentence.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know what, I'm fucking done with it. And even to this day, I've got a fucking fortune owed to me off people.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking interested. I tried to see 2 of them when I got out, and he went, look, you're on licence, you come near me and phone the police. And these are straight people, by the way.
What, CCTV and all that shit?
Yeah, and I just said, you know what, I went, shoved the money, I went, that's it, I'm done. And I've never gone back, yeah.
So obviously being in jail, John, I wanted to ask you as well, you know, and I fucking think it's what you done was fucking absolutely outstanding. One of the Rochdale groomers you copped for.
That was in that was when I was getting sentenced.
Was it? Well, was this in the court? Was it?
Yeah. So what happened is I was getting I could only go in Cat A vans. Now, have you ever seen like the Geo Amy vans and
with
stuff?
The fucking police and everything
so
and all that.
The Cat A vans are the one with the red stripe through it. So they're like your jam butty.
Yeah.
But they're not like a normal Geo Amy
sweatbox.
They were comfy seats. You got one little pad in it. You had 4 guards there, and it was like brilliant. But now we goes down to get sentenced in there. Now underneath the courts at the back, I couldn't go with normal people in underneath the courts because it was Cat A.
Yeah.
So they had different cells round the corner, and I remember all the Rochdale groomers there.
Dirty bastards, yeah.
Yeah, and there was I think there's about 7 or 8 of them, and there was a little one. I always remember it because he reminded me of Mowgli. Do you know what I mean? Out of the fucking Jungle Book, but he had long hair.
Yeah.
But every time he was coming past, like I'm in the wind, he's going, "You all right, mate? You all right, mate?" And I'm going, "Fuck off."
And you knew who they were?
I knew exactly who they were, yeah, because they were all Cat A's at the time as well. And the screw who was in the van with me, he just looked at him. I said, "Can I get the toilet?" He went, "Yeah, in a bit." Oh, I've seen him walk past. I thought, give it a minute. I went, "Scuff, can I get the toilet?" He knew what I was going to do.
Get a cop for him, yeah.
He knew exactly what I was going to do, but I thought, you fucking rat. And then I was already angry. It was fucking...
all the shit that you've got going on.
And then I've come out and you're not supposed to be out together. So they've let us out if he's coming out of the toilet, and as he's come out, just attacked him and whacked him. I just put him a fucking...
Put him a kip, yeah.
Yeah, he was only small. He was only a little fart.
Small, big, whatever, them dirty bastards.
I'd done it, and I thought, you know what, mate, that fucking... Because he was fucking golding me. You know what I mean?
Mate,
Everyone like knew what they were in for, but yet they all wanted to try and be your mate, and I'm going, fuck off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was all... So when I got back to the jail, it was fucking all over the Cat A unit.
Yeah.
So all the lads was like, fucking blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I remember being in the Cat A unit, right, and I'd not been long being in there, and you know, when you're sitting around talking and someone says what you're in for and stuff, and I've gone to this kid, I went, "What are you in for?" He's gone. I went, "What are you? Come in here in a minute." I thought, what the fuck's he on? But no, it was boss lad.
Yeah.
It's a fucking sound lad. I got on with him and stuff, and he took me in. He went, "Look," he said, blah, blah, blah. Fucking gets all his depths out. He said, have you ever tried cutting a body up, John? I said, to be honest, lad, I said, to be quite honest, if I was going to cut a body up, I went, I'd be cutting it like I would a chicken. So where all the joints are there, he went, fucking, no one told me that, did they, lad? He went, I'm fucking hacksaw and legs off here. And I'm going,
Fuck off.
So, and I can't really go too much into it, because
Yeah,
I know what it is, but the fucking pictures, he battered the lads with a hammer and fucking killed him, shot him in the head, chopped his head off. Like, fucking hell. I'm sitting there going, what the fuck am I doing here? But because it's all evidence, he showed me all the pictures. Like the fucking head, like the tongue out all severed here. There's fucking where he's been. I was just like...
And this lad who you thinking's all right, John?
He was fucking sound. And I mean, he was fucking sound. But this is the type of people you're in there with. You know, and look, him and his brother both got a long time. His brother had fuck all to do with it. But, you know what I mean? But because he was sort of there at the time when they got arrested, he ended up, both of them ended up getting 35 years. But two of them were just fucking normal lads who one had just lost the plot and fucking went to town.
And hacked someone, killed someone, chopped
but
someone.
What they'd done is they chopped him up and put him in a suitcase and took him up to a railway and set him on fire, but left his head outside the suitcase. They just want to burn his face. I'm like, the fucking hell.
Oh, what?
And I'm in a Cat A unit with, and I'd only been on there about 4 or 5 days, got to know the lads and stuff, you know what I mean? And then I had to walk into that. I found it funny. Do you know what I mean? But
a lot of people would be fucking like,
yeah, but it's just, but you got to be used to it when you're going into them. But it's just the way he said, have you ever tried cutting a body up, John?
Just like blasé.
Normal, yeah. Just like normal. And like I've said, no, I said, but if it was cutting a body up, like you cut a chicken, you cut it where the joints are, so you know you could chop it or saw it straight away without having to saw through legs and bones. And he's sawing from shins here,
thighs, and
here, where he just cut every part of the body wrong. You know what I mean? But
and you're
looking at it.
You're locked up with these people, mate. Wow.
But you know what? I had a fucking really good time on there. It's like jail. I enjoyed jail because I knew when the judge put the fucking hammer down with a sentence, I knew what I couldn't get out of it. Everyone throws an appeal in, but I couldn't get out of it. I knew what I had to do every day, and I just made the most of it. I had to fucking scream. I had to scream in there. You know, it's night time. Like, you've got to remember, we're all just like us sitting in prison.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the good thing is, like, you'll have banter with people and you'll see some funny things in there. You know what I mean? And like, me and my mates would just be in fucking pleats all day. Then your door would get locked. You know what I mean? So, obviously, when I come out the Cat A, you know, I couldn't share with anyone. So it was always, I'd always had a single cell.
Yeah.
But then that's when your thinking starts, and you didn't have phones in your pads then. It was when I got to Oakwood, I had my own phone in my pad where I could speak to the kids and stuff, which made it a lot easier. And then from there, I tried to go to Oakwood. I mean, to Thorncross or Kirkham. Bang, put a knock on it. I ended up on the Isle of Sheppey in Kent.
Fucking bottom end of the country.
Yeah. But it ended up being the best sort of Cat D I'd gone to. You know what I mean? Because one, it did rehabilitate me. Two, the police were still putting, the authorities were blocking me everything I tried to do. So I got there with 20 months left to serve. I'd probably been out, and a couple of months later on a town visit, I weren't getting fuck all.
Yeah.
And then I got my town visit on 9 months, right? Now, 3 weeks before that, I got ill in there, and I ended up in hospital. And the screw had to come with me, and for the first hour, he was chained to the bed and stuff. And they all had a meeting, and he come back, he went, we're fucking going to leave you here. He went, at the end of the day, he said, you've been in the jail now near 11 months, you haven't had a town, you've not been out, you've not done fuck all. He went, look, the police have got a marker on you, they don't want you to go out. He said, you adhere what you're doing now. He said, you have to do your licence every other day, get up, go downstairs, make sure it's stamped and stuff. And I'd done that for near 3 weeks. And it goes back to the jail, and the governor and my personal officer and a couple of screws called me in and went, look, you've got a marker on you, the police don't want you out. He said, but you've been in hospital for 3 weeks nearly now. You've adhered by everything, you've come back. He went, phone your family up. He said, you can go out Saturday. I went, all right. It was the 6th of December.
Yeah.
I think the 6th of December 2015, I think it was, or maybe around that. I went to London. I met me kids and met a few of me family. Now, I knew I was getting followed everywhere, but it was the 6th of December. London was chocker. And where I put down on my plan that I was going for food, I couldn't get in there because it was chocker, so I went round to Chinatown. And then it gets back to the jail.
And they'd try and pull you on that?
Well, I knew I slipped them. You know what I mean? Because everywhere I went, he was just, and I could see them just on me. But I slipped them anyway. Gets back to the jail at 5 to 7. There's about 27 screws and busies all waiting in reception for me. They thought I was getting off and weren't coming back. And I've walked in, they've gone, Burton, and gone, yeah, you have to get an Ian lock. They put me in like a cell in the reception. I was going, what's up? Keith was one of the screws, and they were saying, Keith. I went, Keith, what's going on? He went, look, we're trying to deal with it now. We went, these, you've been getting followed. I went, I know I've been getting followed. He said, but you never went to this restaurant. I went, Keith, it was fucking chocker.
I went to fucking
Chinatown. I went to
Chinatown.
Chinatown, which was literally facing
I'm
it.
back now, fucking hell, mate.
Yeah. So he fought for me, Keith. The governor come down and fought for me. He went, no, he's not taking him nowhere. He's staying here. He went,
But he's trying to fucking nab you for because you did not disclosed you'd gone to China.
He wanted me back in closed conditions, didn't he? And the screws and the governors and all that fought me case for me. And then I ended up staying there. And then for every 2 weeks then, I had to go to Westfields in Stratford.
Westfields, that's where the big shopping centre
yes,
is and all
that's
that?
what I had to go in there every 2 weeks. And from 10 o'clock in the morning till 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I had to stay in Westfields.
In the shopping precinct?
Yeah, I was getting followed everywhere. But I was going in KFC, I was going in for my breakfast, I was going in Yo Sushi. The same people were there all the time. And in the end, I sent them a fucking a drink and that over. I went, you're okay. I said, I've seen you now for 4 or 5 times.
And with your kids and stuff, or your mates just come to see you?
I never don't know what I couldn't have my mates down. They wouldn't allow me to my mates come down. There was a couple of my mates, Robbie and Mick, who were allowed to come, but they just banned everyone.
Because they just thought, well,
but you know what? It's like, I've not gone out and fucking killed people. I've not been a menace to society. All right, I've done some fucking naughty things, but you do that when you're growing up. You know, I didn't go causing mayhem to get the treatment I deserved.
Yeah.
I didn't deserve what I got, but in a way it changed me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I remember one of my mates coming in, Mick, and bearing in mind I'd used Blackberries. I'd never ever been on an iPhone. I think we were on iPhone 2 when I got nicked. And he's coming in, he's talking about these apps and stuff like that. And
you didn't know what an app was?
No, I knew what bits were off an Blackberry, but I didn't know like all these iPhones, and he was telling me about apps. Now, what I've been doing for months, I've been writing stuff about what I could do
when you get
out and get myself straight. And I've always stopped people getting bullied in jail. I fucking hate bullies, and me and my mates always put a stop to it. I've always helped people in jail, reading the letters, writing the letters.
Because some people can't read or write.
Yeah, and a lot of the traveller network, a lot of them don't read and write.
Yeah.
And I fucking love most of the travellers. They're fucking brilliant people.
Yeah.
And, you know, down.
They're loyal as fuck, mate.
You know, when when I got to Stamford Hill, bearing in mind I got there, they had 2 wings. One was called Essex and one was called Brixton. Right, so you can imagine what I was walking into, and I thought, oh yeah, my mates are on Essex, I'll be on there. I had a bit of colour in my skin, didn't I? Fuck off, straight to Brixton. I've gone on a wing, 4 landings, just everyone black in there.
Yeah.
And I'm on there and I'm like, a bit, fucking hell, what's going on here? And then I've got 2 black lads come up to you with Scouse Johnny. He went, I've got something for you here. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is this? But they give me big bags of shopping foods and stuff like that. Yeah. And I enjoyed being on there, and then I got my own little pod working out and stuff. And I've gone into pods one day. I'm working on the prison vans, you know, taking lads to like Sittingbourne Station, Rochester, stuff like that. And my mate owns most of Rochester. So every time I was dropping them off there, I was going in his restaurants and having breakfast. I was going back to jail training, dropping them off at Sittingbourne, having a bite to eat, going to the gym, and then I'd go back to Rochester overnight. And my mate had all different restaurants, so I used to go in and have 3-course meals waiting for the lads, right? So I was happy. I didn't need a fucking job. And then goes back to jail, and I said to Keith, Keith, can I get, because I had my own key for the pads, you have your own locks there. I've said, Keith, can I get me key there, mate? He's gone, yeah, go ahead, Scouse, lad. So as I was going to get me key, I've heard, fucking Scouse, you look like a fucking Jedi. And I've turned around, there's a baldy fella sitting here with a tweed jacket on and jumbo cords. And I've gone, fuck off, you baldy. Man, you fucking look like a fucking Jedi with your jumbo fucking shitty corduroys on, giving him shit. He's having banter with me. A few minutes, and I went, anyway, Baldrick, who the fuck are you on my wing? He went, glad you said that, John. He said, my name's Jim Padley, I'm the new #1 governor. I've gone, oh, fucking hell. So bearing in mind at this time, Tony, I'm pretty big.
Yeah,
you had a skinhead.
Well, that's the name.
To be honest, you know, there was a few people in Stamford Hill who, anyone know, I put it on anyone in there. Yeah. I didn't give a fuck. There was people who were sound, there was people who were just fucking melting there. And I give him a bit of shit, and then I told him, like I said, oh, look, Jim, sorry about that. And he was from Manchester, he'd been in the ways. He said, I've read all about you. He said, I had your file in in strange ways. He went, I've come down. He went, look, he said, anything you need, he said, talk to us. I went, look, I said, I've got an idea.
Don't be causing a fucking problem and all that.
Yeah, I said, I've got an idea, I said, of an app. I said, but it's on an iPhone. I went, I've never used an iPhone. He said, well, why don't you get one and bring one in? I went, what do you mean? He went, well, outside you, like I used to have, like, when you're going out, you could have a phone.
Yeah.
He allowed me to have an iPhone and to do research. So I told him about the app and all that. He went, yeah, brilliant. He said, probably really good idea. He went, I'll support you. And I went, look, I said, I'll do me the drop-offs of the vans and stuff.
Yeah.
I said, I need to research. He went, well, stay outside in the prison cafe, take your van down there, and I'll give you the authority to stay down in the prison.
Fucking, what's the name of that,
He
John?
was fucking brilliant, Jim. And I stayed down there and done all my research. And then he said to me, Jim, he goes, look, John, he said, I'm going to be honest. He went, you scared the fucking shit out of me, mate. He went, you're big, you're a skinhead, you got a big fucking scouse mouth anyway. He said, I said, look, Jim, I said, if you back me, I said, you'll see a different person when I get out. He went, all right, I'll back you.
And what was the app, John, that you've been thinking about?
So all I'd had was, I'd been writing stuff out to help people and stuff like that. And then one thing that resonated to me was people coming to my pad and dropping bags off in the morning, going out, having a fight and coming back in overnight just so they could bed down and go somewhere. And I couldn't get my head around that. I was thinking, why the fuck are people getting out? There's no hope for them
as a prisoner.
Yeah, and I was thinking, why are people getting out and they're getting 47 quid? They're going down, they're probably getting a quick blowjob, some food, a few bevies, and twatting someone just to come back in for 10 o'clock of a night.
That's their hope in life.
Yeah, I couldn't get my head around it. And I was like, there's got to be more to... And I'm sitting in my pad and I went, I've got a fucking app here. I've got an app here to sort of help people find the right dentists, find the right doctors, find the right hospitals, find the right housing, find the right training, find employment. And I thought, I could fucking build an app. And that's when I approached Jim about it. He went, yeah, it sounds. And then he said to me, before you get out, I think I had 14 months left. And he'd said about me being a fucking steadhead and blah, blah, blah. And I said, look, I said, I'll change. And then when I got sick, I lost 11 kilo. I had an infection in my bowel, but they'd left me in bed for 2 weeks in the prison. And it was only Mr. Kemelo, one of the screws, has come over. He's gone, what, are you still like this? I went, they won't do nothing about it. He's gone over, fucking flipped at the doctor, got a blood test. He went, we'll come and let you know this afternoon. Within 5 minutes, there was an ambulance there.
Rushed to hospital?
Rushed me straight to hospital, yeah. So I lost a load of weight then. Then I started like training and getting rid of the weight side of stuff and the heavy weights, and I grew my hair. I ended up getting glasses. And then I've gone in 2 weeks before I was getting out to do a presentation, and I've gone in, he's gone, yeah, can I help you? I went, yeah, I've come to do my presentation. He's gone, fucking hell, John.
You were changing.
He just didn't even know what it was. And then I'd done my presentation of how I designed my app and what I wanted to use it for and what tool it would
Who was this
do.
in front of, John?
It was in front of the governor, prison officers, cons, civvies. There was about 30 people in there. And at the end of it, I thought, you know what, I've done a great job. And then everyone was like, just...
gobsmacked.
Yeah, but they weren't saying nothing. I was thinking, shit. And Jim stood up and he, you know what, he had like, he had a lump in his throat.
Tears in his eyes.
Yeah, and he went, John, he went, look, he went, it's probably the best thing I've had on my desk in 30 years. I've worked in the prison system. So then I've got emotional a bit, you know what I mean?
Fucking hell, mate, yeah.
And so they backed me on it. And then I always say in life, everything happens for a reason. I gets out, they barred me from Liverpool, some of the restrictions where I couldn't come back into the Liverpool, and I moved to Runcorn.
Yeah.
And I stayed here for 3 months while just seeing my kids and stuff like that.
Back up, yeah.
And I went back down to Kent, and every day by Rochester, there used to be a little place by these apartments on the river by the boats. I used to sit and have a coffee on my own. And I just thought, you know what, I used to see these flats and I thought, I'd fucking love to live in one of them. You know, a nice little flat where you can come out, there's all boats in front of you. I just wanted a mellow life. I'd had a fucking crazy life, and I just thought, you know what, I just need to just mellow down now and just go and get a grip in my life and stuff like that. And I goes there, there's a flat empty. And I went, fuck off. So I went to Entwistle Green, spoke to the estate agent, told them I'd just got out of prison, what I was doing. And he said, look, we'll have a chat with the landlady for you. And just as I was getting in the car, he shouted me back and said, the landlady wants to come and meet you. I'll never forget Jackie. She come down and I got on with Jackie great. And she said, you know what, John? She went, pay your deposit and your month up front. She went, I'm going to give you 6 months. If I don't get the other 4 months rent, she went, it's my loss. She went, but I'm going to
give you that chance, John.
I'm going to take a chance on you, yeah. And I lived there for 2 years. Now, here's the weird part of it. I was trying to get my app built and developed, and the prices I was getting were fucking astronomical. And my next door neighbour, guy called Carl, I'd only spoke to him once. And his name was Carl. He lived next door and he fitted windows and doors and houses with his brother. That's all I knew of him. Only met him the once, but where my bedroom window was here, his balcony was here. And where my balcony was there, it would look straight into his window. My mum died she was 43, my mum, when she died. I have little weird dreams and stuff now and again. And I kept having this dream. Carl's the answer to your tech. Carl's the answer to your tech. And I just thought, I woke up in the morning going, fucking tech, he's a fucking window fucking fitter. Tony, I never thought nothing of it. And then I used to sit outside on my veranda where I used to have like tea leaves, Yorkshire tea leaves and soya milk and stuff. And then I looked, do you know when you look in someone's and the curtains are open, I've fucking seen all computer screens and I've gone, fuck off. And I've gone, you know when you get a shiver through your body, and I went, Carl, I shouted Carl, I went, look mate, I went, do you do anything with apps and
tech and all that?
Yeah. Like Carl's definitely on the spectrum, but, and this was in 2017. And he went, yeah. I said, look, come round a minute. I went, I've had a fucking berserk dream last night, mate. I went, but it's been playing on me all morning. I said,
you fucking see that?
And then I've seen all your computers. He's come in, he's had a look through and he went, yeah, he said, give me a day. I said, I'll have a look through and see what I can do. And then he come back to me the next day and he went, yeah, I said, I've had a look through. I said, I can build that for you. I went, are you happy in work? He went, I fucking hate it. I said, if I match your money, what you're on now, would you come and work for me? He went, fucking right, I would, yeah. That was what, nearly 8 years ago. He's up here now with me. He lives up here with us, yeah. But he built my app.
And with that app, John, did that get, made and put into the prison system? And did
it couldn't go into the prison system because you can't
the
have
security.
phones in them. So you're not allowed phones in the prison. So
what about where you can go to? What
I've done is for the first, what gets out, it goes back to Kent. It lives in the flat. Carl's designing my app. And I goes around to all these third sector organisation meetings, clinks and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, I was a bit to the bone with them. You know what I mean? And then I found this other firm that built this app about a year after I'd built mine and gone there. And they went, so I'm there. There's like, these are all big wigs, like posh people who have built this app. So
your fucking idea.
Yeah, and then I've got mine built, but mine theirs was better than mine. But then he come out with like, there's 300 people in this room. I'm the only person who's been away, by the way. The rest are all like posh people and people in like meetings and stuff. And I've heard, what we want to do with these is we want, when you go to court and you get sentenced, he said, we want to make sure you've got like an iPad that's going to be in like the GOAMI vans that you'll be able to use to go to court. And I burst out laughing, but laughing loud, I couldn't get my head around it. And he went, yeah, do you find something funny? I went, yeah. I said, do you really think if I've just got 10 years up my arse, I'm going to get in a fucking sweatbox and
start fucking
and play fucking Tetris on the way to go to jail? I went, I'm going to smash it. He went, what do you mean you're going to smash it? I went, well, that's what you've got to get in your head. I went, if you've put tech in a van that's taking you from court to prison and you've just got 10 years, I went, first thing you're going to do with that, mate, is punch it and put a fucking big hole in it. So everyone's like, I'm having it with them now.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, I had about 40 people around me. They had no one around them and they didn't like it. Because I'd had lived experience and I spoke my mind. Like, I'm all against like people just, like I always challenge people who have funding. So you got funding, why aren't you putting people in work? Oh, well, it's not as easy as that. I went, well, yeah, it is easy. And I always said, when my business started, well, it's not my business really because I can't get a bank account. So I go for a bank account. I got knocked back by Monzo 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So I have an online bank account. So I can't beat anything. But my kids, the day I got out, my son was 19 anyway. We set Inside Connections up.
Yeah.
And Ben and Livy are now with the directors where other people have brought in. And they're fucking smashing it.
But that's what I'm saying, John. Inside Connections. What is Inside Connections? So
Inside Connections was basically a tool that you could go on your phone and find, if you needed a dentist, if you needed a doctor, if you needed an optician, if you needed somewhere to live, if you needed to find out where a prison is, if just anything that was a tool that would help you progress to rehabilitate yourself.
Yeah.
And then I got it built, and then in 2019 I was approached by Wilmot Dixon, and bearing in mind my app was getting out there.
Yeah.
People starting to use it. And the ideas I had then, some of them are not there now because they just didn't work, but it was how you sort of manifold to what you want to get today. And then Wilmot Dixon approached me and they said, we want you to start working with the prisoners with us. I said, where is it? They went, Liverpool's King's Dock car park. So if you remember the car park by the
The one that
arena,
burned down. The one that burned
yeah,
down.
so all the cars were still in it, weren't they?
Yeah.
So they were building a £30 million car park. So you've seen Kingstock car park,
Yeah,
the new
yeah,
one?
yeah.
I'd helped them build that. So
With the people that have come out of.
so my first one was I had to go and have a meeting with the police, a meeting for probation with Wilmot Dixon and myself, because I weren't allowed in Merseyside. So they lifted me restrictions, and said, look, we're going to, they'd seen the work I've been doing. And there was always people still hesitant about me going down a crime route, but I totally had it in my head that I'll never go down that life again. It's a life of fucking misery, upset, hurt and pain for you and all your family, and it will never ever change. And I'll never go that. I'll never fucking do any. I'll never go that way or that way for anyone. I'm going that way now, and that's the only way I'm going in life. But when you first come out of prison, people don't believe you. I couldn't get funds and I couldn't do anything. I work with a skills centre in London who helped me with funds, and I started putting people into work. So by the time
branched out everywhere, John.
yeah, and then by the time I got to Liverpool, 2019, September 2019, I started with the first 12 lads out of Thorncross Prison. I had them coming out of prison and going to the Kingstock car park. I had them on a 2-week
Making their own way there, was the old getting dropped.
So can't remember whether some were getting the trains and then they were getting brought in. I can't really, it was like 2019, I can't really remember. But they were getting there in the morning. And for an hour's dinner, they could go to the town centre as long as they were back within the hour. You know what I mean? So for them, they were getting out in the morning. They were going to Asda on the way to work. They were buying food. They were eating goods. They were working.
Society's coming back.
So I got them through like a 2-week introduction to construction. But the main thing was to get them a CSCS card and get them on site. Now I got my first bit of funding for it. But I got, one of them never turned up on the last day out of 12, and I got 11 of them straight into work on site. So that was steel fixers, floor polishers, stuff like that, where they were building the car park. Everything was going great. Got another load in there. And then we come to March 2020.
COVID and all that shit.
Bearing in mind, the 21st of March, Carl moved to Liverpool from Kent.
Yeah, yeah.
And all the way up, he was talking about what he wants to do in Liverpool, and he can't wait to go out in town and have a bite to eat this, have a bite to that. But then we got fucking locked down. Like, so he got to Liverpool like 6 months before he went out anywhere. So he was fucking fuming.
Yeah.
But we'd lost all the prisoners then.
Because they were all
all the prisons locked down, and everyone had to go in. And then I think for about 6 months we were probably on full lockdown, weren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you could
was it longer though? I think it might have been longer.
I think first it was like 6 months, but a few months then you could start doing like your shopping, bits and stuff like
all
that.
Bullshit, yeah.
And then the prison shut, so I'll be honest, we nearly lost everything.
Really?
Yeah, it's just that we got a bit of funding to start working with frontline workers. So your construction workers needed to be out. So we started carrying on doing our bits
Bringing
of
the
training.
prisoners out and getting them into...
Well, we couldn't. The prisons were shut for 2 years.
Oh, would they not let them out now?
No, I think the prisons were the last places to open.
Oh, right, yeah,
and they wouldn't let anyone out. But the prisons opened then in, I think it was 2022, and we started working again. So we started working, but it was like starting a business straight away, but you had all your contacts and everything.
Yeah.
And I think now, from 2019... up until today, we're 4,000 people into work.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Returning citizens back into the, society.
And for me, it's like, you've got to look at like, what do they need to get into work? It's all the accreditations, it's all the skills. It's, there's people in prison who deserve to have the key locked and fucking thrown away. I totally agree with that.
We know that, yeah.
But there's people who just need an arm around the shoulder and guided in the right way.
Instead of just being left to
fucking... Yeah, and I think I've changed a lot of people's perception on prisoners, because it doesn't make me a bad person because I've been to prison.
John, you've made mistakes and you've fucking,
you pay for them, but you've got a lot more companies and stuff buying into what you do. But, at that time, I was doing stuff where everyone was lived experience, that. We're not working with offenders, but I changed a lot of that. And I started getting a lot of people into training and then into full-time employment. And I think since we've gone from the prisons opening in 2022 up to today, we've had 400 out on Rottle, but we've put 4,000 people into full-time employment.
And you've got cards, yes, cards.
Got everything. Yeah, but so I changed then. I went from just doing construction. I went then into fibre, telecoms, civil engineering. I'm into renewable energy now.
Technicians and all that,
I work with warehouse people. I work with HGV. So I've got a whole array of companies nationally taking people on all over the country. And like just to today, I've been with a company I work with now, and they're fucking brilliant. They're brilliant, and we're doing some massive, massive work with them now. And for me, just like I always say to people, you know, like we've won 5 awards.
Yeah.
Like, I won a big award in the Houses of Parliament, right? So I goes down there and I'm with a load of posh people, toffs, and Lady Val, who runs the Corbett Network. I just love her. She's just one amazing woman. And we're in there, and Liverpool Narcos had not long been out.
Yeah.
So I was on, Liverpool Narcos.
It's on Sky, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I was in 3 episodes, and it was called the Liverpool Grafters at first. And then I was in the first episode, the second episode, and my kids were in the 3rd episode with me explaining the effects of that on them as they went away. And then Sky phoned me up and said to me, I was the only one with written documentation, so I could have a say in what was happening. And Sky phoned me up and said, look, we're changing the name. I said, what to? He went, Liverpool Narcos. I went, why are you fucking changing it to that? He went, well, John, we've got to draw people into what we're doing. I went, look, I said, you're going to change it to Liverpool Narcos. I said, there's already been a Liverpool Narcos on Channel 5, and it was Ian and Jason. And it's all had been. And I said, look, if you're going to change that to Liverpool Narcos, I went, I'm not having my kids in that.
Associated with it.
Yeah, and I said, take me out of episode 1, because it was more about heroin, episode 1. Episode 2 was more about tablets and stuff like that, which I weren't bothered. And episode 3, I think it was more about like Curtis and Steve and me and stuff like that, where they were the ones who fucking smashed it, you know what I mean? We were just small people, but done all right out of what we were doing. And it got a good send-off, and then I'm walking through the Houses of Parliament, been to Houses of Lords, Houses of Parliament, and I'm walking through Westminster Abbey. Bearing in mind, I've got about 20, 25, 30 people with me, all posh, toffs, really, lords, MPs, and then I've got this busy shouting, stop him. So this busy's chasing me with a fucking gun. Stop him! Can you grab hold of him?
In the Houses of Parliament?
Yeah, so I'm in Westminster Abbey, and these are all turning to me going, what have you done? I went, I haven't fucking done nothing. So these are all thinking I've done something. So this busy's come on. I went, what's up, mate? He said, is your name John? I went, yeah. He went, I'd just like to shake your hand. I'd shit you not. These must have all thought I'd done something. So everywhere Lady Val goes now, she tells that story about me getting run through the Houses of Parliament. And it was just like, I'd done that, then I'd done a few like other little bits and pieces, and I started getting noticed for what we're doing. Yeah. And then started getting like a lot more companies on. And I've got nearly
buying into it, John?
Yeah, I've got nearly every national company now taking people on. I've been to one today, they're looking at taking another 70. You know, so John, I've turned it from people not believing and giving a second chance to people believing, going, do you know what, these are the best workers we've had out. Now, if I get someone out of a Cat D who's got 2 to 2.5 years left to serve, for me, it's getting them out and putting them
back
in
into
a job.
Society, innit? You know what I mean?
One of my things is, look, when you're bad and your kids are fucking struggling out here, and they have been since you've been in jail, get you in a job, go and earn a proper wage, get home of a home leave, and go and support your family and your kids, because they go through it more than us.
Yeah.
We're in jail. We know what we've got to do. We've got to deal with it. They're on their own. Bills are going up. Lechi's going up. Food's going up. They're struggling. So it was always in my head to try and get as many people as I can into training and then into work. And it's working.
It's there to see, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's absolutely...
Well, if you think about it, I've put 4,000 people into full-time employment. You think how much I've saved the government on it? And
as the government's, you know, have you had anything from the government?
Do you know what? I don't really
ask or whatever.
It's not. Well, look, at this minute, like for first 4 years, I would never get a penny funding. My charity is getting a lot of funding now.
Yeah.
We've had DFE, Department of Further Education visits. We've smashed that. We've smashed that Ofsted. I brought the right people in to educate people in work, and like my 2 kids now, they're just flying, absolutely flying. And for me, that's all I wanted in life. I didn't want my children growing up
to go down that road.
No, I didn't want it. That life is just full of misery, and even more misery, because it never ever, if you've been involved in criminal where you're going to earn money out of it,
can't close your eyes, John.
No,
you can't
it's never going to go away.
Do you know what? I say this all the time, and look, I've got mates, and you know, and I love them and whatever, and it's one of those things where, you know, when you're doing stuff with your kids or you've got a business and whatever, it's great to see that, you know, you're doing something together, but then you go to bed, you close your fucking eyes, you've got no worry about no one coming through your door.
Fuck, I used to sleep like Stevie Wonder every night, mate. I'd be fucking like that. I'm just like in bed, she'd be like, fucking turn you, because it's always, you know
Yeah,
your door
yeah.
was going to come in. Your door was going to come
Yeah,
in.
yeah, because
And
fucking...
you've always got it, like, you get in the car of a morning, you're checking around to see if there's plod there. You're in your mirror all the time. If you see people twice or three times in the day, straight away you're on them, I think, in the busies.
Yeah, yeah.
You have people, like, waiting outside police stations.
That fucking thing in the back of your mind,
fucking
paranoia.
yeah. It's mental paranoia. And the best thing I've ever done in my life is go straight.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to do it beforehand. But what I've done is all my transferable skills that I've worked all over the world with different sort of high-class people, as I would say. People would call them mafias or cartels.
Yeah.
I just call them really high-class people who were fucking good at the game. You know, I've put all my transferable skills into not working in that network. I'm working in a straight network.
Putting it all into that, yeah.
I'm working with MDs, working with chief executives, working with founders, owners. And I find that I'm working in a
smashing
world.
it, and that's, you know, it's brilliant to see, and it's great that your kids are involved with it and they're running it for you. While
The kids are doing fantastic.
you know, it's
Some of the stuff the kids are doing now, it's like, it's way over my head. You know what I mean? But they're doing it, and for me, that's all I care about.
no, that's
You
it.
know, I'm never going to be able to have anything in life, never. You know, I get a decent wage. I can't really have 10, 20 grand in my bank because people will just take it. You know, I can't be a director on a company because I can't be on a fucking bank account to be on a company.
Yeah.
So it restricts you, everything you do.
But what you are doing though, John, you're giving them people a chance who are getting a second chance, because a lot of people don't get a
Tell
second
you what
chance.
happens for me some Sundays when people first get out working and they go on a home leave and they FaceTime me with the kids, and the kids are saying,
What's that like inside?
It first time I think I had a tear in my eye, because my mate who got out, he hadn't been out for 15 years, and the first time visit he FaceTimed me with his kids and stuff, and it broke my heart. But you know what, it was a good one.
It was a lot nice feeling.
Yeah, it was good, because I just love seeing people getting back out with the kids and the family, because when you're stuck in there, mate, the prisons are fucked. The prisons are overcrowded.
You've done it, you know what I mean?
They're overcrowded, and you know, and everyone blames the prison system, the screws that. There's drugs everywhere, there's phones everywhere. It's always going to be like that. You know, it's a cat and mouse game. You know, while you're in jail, if you want to have a life in jail, and you've got to get bits in to live.
Yeah.
And it's how are you going to get them in? Well, it's for you to get them in, and for the screws to try and stop you. You know, you've got drones, you've got corruptible screws, you've got people going in and out of prison who just throw stuff up the shit box.
Yeah.
You know, so it's always going to happen. You're never going to get away with it.
It's try and cut it out. You've got to
it's the spice I didn't like in there. And I'll be honest with you, when the spice first come out, I used to have a joint, mate.
Yeah.
And when the spice first come out, I had to go with the spice. But I never sort of...
It
was a new drug that no one thought what it was, and I just have 2 pulls, put it on the side. It was just like you were stoned, but I used to see people have 3, 4, 5 pulls and just go bang.
Like a zombie.
And then in the end, I went, fuck this, mate.
No.
And then, you know, even the screws were saying, just make sure there's no spice. We're not asked about weed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The spice was just fucking putting people over.
Yeah, you can see it. It was fucking...
But you've got to remember, a lot of people in there for taking drugs. You know what I mean? A lot of people have got habits and stuff. You know, drugs are going to come in. You know, they're going to take them. They're going to owe money for them. They're going to end up in debt. They're probably going to end up on a VP ring with all the sex offenders and stuff, because it's the only place where they can go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fucking hell. But John, have you ever thought about writing a book, or your story
being approached
for a film?
I've been approached a few times, and I've been approached about films and stuff, but I probably, in the next year or two, I'll settle myself down a bit, and then once I'm settled down a bit...
You're on your path to Inside
I've been
Connections.
diagnosed with like ADHD. I'm dyslexic anyway, and some days I'm like a maniac.
But John, look what you've done. Like, obviously, you know, you've served your time, you've done the crime, you've served the time, you've come out. Look what you've done now. 4,000 people going into fucking full-time work and stuff.
So this year alone, I think we'll hit our target. I reckon I'll hit 1,000 this year. And that's in a year. And that's people going through training courses.
All over the country, this is it.
Yeah. So why I work with national employers, everyone's in prisons from different parts of the country. You've got people in Kirk and people in sort of Thorncross who are from London, Birmingham. Like Birmingham's got no cat day other than East Side, which is Sudbury. And people are dotted everywhere.
It's all open prisons that you're watching.
Yeah, it's really good for me working with the open conditions, because if someone's got 2.5 years left to serve, one, I can get them into work and I can get them a trade, or two, I can get them into work and I can get them supporting the family until they get out. That's all I want to do. I don't want people's birds or kids having a hard time when I can get you out working. And I'll say to them, like, you do get people who go on rattle bans or get shipped out. You know, you've got people coming out, and I had a lad who got caught with 10 tins of fish, some mackerel. But then people think, well, what the fuck's he doing there? Well, to buy mackerel in Tesco's is 80p.
In jail.
To buy it in prison, it's £2.35. So I think to myself, well, you're causing that yourselves. DHL or whoever it is do it, putting the hiking the prices up every month of the
Just
biggest thing. Yeah,
in the pockets, innit? Yeah.
But you've got prisoners there who are only earning 25 quid a week.
And how the fuck are they meant to survive on that?
What do you think contraband's going to fucking do? No, they need to start putting, a few prisons are starting to put their own shops back in there.
Like a little tit.
Yeah, like years ago, you used to get like a bag of 50p's in Walton and go to the shop, you'd be able to spend them. But they're putting shops back in there, which is, it's better because you're going to be paying proper prices and not hiked up prices because you don't get enough money anyway.
It's fucking bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like I say, John, you know, you've been approached over a book or a film and stuff, and that's possibly in the pipeline. What is in the pipeline for you?
Well, Inside Connections now, it's a national company and it's growing. It's got a few parts to it now. It's got the charity side of it where we're getting a lot of funding now, but we're getting a lot of funding because we're real people, we're real training and we're real jobs, and that's what we're getting noticed for. But I'm working with loads of national companies. I go round to motivational speaking to like companies, prisons, schools, universities, colleges, and I just explain to people about obviously my life, and you know, crime doesn't pay. It might pay on the short run, but in the long run it's not going to pay because you're going to get nicked. Down, and you know, the biggest gang in our country, I'll always say it's the fucking police, and you're never going to get away with them. If they've got you on their radar, believe me, you're on their radar.
You're hunted till you call me.
And like me, when you're in a criminal world, you fucking hate the police. You know, but when you're out of a world, they don't bother you.
Yeah.
You know, like years ago, you'd be driving your fucking clutch foot would be like that. As soon as the blue lights come, you're thinking, shit. Now you see blue lights, it doesn't bother you.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality of like, it fucks with your head, and it's a life of paranoia. Every time like we were going to like, I had a porn company. So I invested in a porn company making porn films because when I was going to Amsterdam or Spain, I was getting an itinerary of girls I had to interview over there. But for me, it was covering why I was going there. When they've got you going there, so you're fucked anyway. But when I was sat there with 3 scousers just watching pornos, getting made and stuff, and they're like, fucking hell. Some of the stuff we went through, honest to God. I brought 3 lads from here, from Runcorn with me, up to watch a porno getting made. The porno set's like in front of you there. We're all like, I've seen it before, so I was all right. But these 3 are all sitting there. She's getting banged from behind there. So the lights are on there, and the lads are like going, fucking hell. And she's waving, going, come on. And these are nearly going. I went, you can't fucking get in it. You know what I mean? It's like, I think we ended up making, I think it was about 5 porno movies. But we had like that Omar, like a black guy with a fucking dick about that big. We'd had all of them in, you know what I mean? It was just fucking mental. But we tried to do it to just cover where
why you were going there.
Like I was going to Spain a lot. Why are you going to Spain? I said I was renting properties to make pornos. So why was you going to Amsterdam? I was going to hotels in Amsterdam to interview girls for pornos. And stuff, But I had the director of the company, sending me emails where
the little trail and that,
And then I always remember, like every time I used to fly, I'd get pulled anyway, and I'd have DVDs of the porns that we'd made. I'd have photographs, I'd have itinerary, and they'd say, what you do? I said, I make porn films.
Adult films.
Then you'd have them straight away. Then they go, what do you mean you make porn? I'd say, look. And start showing them, start thinking.
Their head's gone off.
They already had me anyway, you know what I mean? Once they've got you on the radar, you're fucked anyway, aren't you?
Fucking hell, mate.
It's like Morocco, South America. I've been all over the fucking place. Everywhere.
Making pornos.
Not just pornos, I've been grafting in most places.
Yeah.
You know, and there's stuff I've done where I think if I'd have done it and got nicked, I'd have been fucked. I'd been totally fucked. and your gut instinct, you always take that gut instinct.
Always go with your gut instinct, yeah.
And I've always done that, and it's worked out right for me. Sometimes it hasn't, but I'd be happier getting 12 years than be getting 25 or 30 years. Like, you see now, we're getting to the way like American prisons are. You know, when I was 20, if you shot someone, you'd be lucky you got a 12, 14.
Over there, mate.
If you shoot people now, you're getting 30 to 40.
Yeah.
So it's just going like that. You can get America, you'd be 40 years of age. You get 150 years and you can go for parole in 99 years, but yet you're 45. I'm like that going, what the fuck do you say? You're going to fucking jail for the rest of your life?
Yeah, you don't get that, isn't it?
Just fucking stupid, but we're going like American jails.
So it's fucking, yeah. I
You
think
know, just like, you want to see how many people in America in jail? There's millions.
Really, yeah.
It's a fucking massive, prison's a massive business.
Yeah.
You know, people look at it and think,
well, it's like 50 grand a prison. That's what they say, don't they?
yeah, it is. But you have two. You have private prisons what get less, and you have your public prisons that get more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, I always remember going to the private prison. You call them by the first name. You're like, you know, like in the other prisons it'd be like Gov or
Miss or whatever.
Yeah. Where in the privates you just call them all by the first name.
Fucking hell.
I remember in Oakwood there was people starting. You know, I used to interview screws who were starting every month. You know, there'd be like 20 or 30 of them. And I'd talk to them, tell them what the wings were like. I'd say, look, I used to pick out how many I'd get in there, probably 3 or 4. There was people who were getting put in there, basically to get told, if you don't go for the job, you're getting took off benefits. These people weren't ready to go into prisons working.
Yeah.
I've seen officers get piss and shit poured all over them. I've seen them spitting shit out of their mouths because they're being absolute bastards with people. This is what you get. But what I do see in the prison system now, from the old officers to the new ones, is a lot of people give a shit about rehabilitation.
Yeah.
You know, and I always say, you know, if you've got officers and you've got staff like that who give a shit, then 9 times out of 10 you'll have more chance of getting out and getting the right education, training and support to get yourself into work. I'm in 71 prisons now. I go to prisons now and they'll go, John, keys. I'll go, I won't fucking, I'm not having your keys, mate. Well, you might be able to come in. I'll say, oh, sound, if I don't come in, I'm not putting my training in here. And they'll say, well, why not? I'm always going to be one of these. I'm never going to be one of you. And I'm not going to ever open a fucking door in a prison. I will never, ever put myself in that position. Never.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be a screw who's been there. I'm one of these. I'm a returning citizen.
Yeah, that's the way to say. Yeah,
and for me, it's about my loyalties to all these. I love working with the officers and the staff in the prisons. They're fucking great. But my line to me is, I will never open a door with a key in a prison. I never will. The only prison door I'd open was my own if it was in a cat tea. I wouldn't do it. And I keep getting wound up everywhere I go, and they'll go, John, keys, and I'll go, stick your fucking keys up your ass. I said, with them. But I have a really good relationship with like governors and stuff. Like, I work with judges and I work with some of the police, and I've had police come to me and go, John, look, we've got lads here from county lines. I go, yeah, we need you to help them. I go, but what do you want me to help them for and spend money on funds and when you're going to put them in jail? I went, if you can guarantee me that I put them through training and put them in a job, you'll NFA them. I said, I'll work with them. I'll be fucking done it.
Yeah.
I've walked into a court, right, with he'd been nicked in Stoke in an uninsured car, 80 bits of crack, 30 bits of bobby, money, took chase.
Bang on to these
I was got and all that. And he got in touch with me through something, and his mum I spoke to him. He come down and see me and said, right, talk to me about it. He went, right, I got this and this. And I went, did you do it? He went, yeah. He said, but I'm not telling them that. I said, so did you wrap all the gear? He went, yeah. I said, so your DNA's all over it. I said, I bet you just bit them. He went, yeah, so your saliva's all over it. And I went, look, I'm going to be honest with you now. If you want me advice, I'll help you now. If you don't want me advice, just get off. I said, but what I'm going to tell you to do now is get your solicitor on the phone. I went, because you're going to change your plea now. He went, what do you mean? I went, you're going to change your plea because when you go to court, they're going to have the evidence on you. You're fucked.
And you'll whack you with the fucking...
Said, you were in the car. You drove the fucking car. You struck chase.
DNA all over it.
You had bits of bobby and crack and money everywhere. I said, you're fucked. And what do you want to just... I said, just listen to me and I'll work it for you. So changed his statement, and the judge said, I want John Burton on the court case. And then he was in Stoke. It was COVID at the time. I had to do it by video link.
Video link, yeah.
And the judge said, firstly, John, he said, I've been following you. He said, I love the work you do. And he said, some brilliant work. He went and he'd gone to the lads. He went, blah, blah. He went, I'm going to tell you now. He went, I'm giving you 4 years custodial sentence today. He said, that's what's on my mind for you. So he's gone straight away.
Gone to fuck,
Yeah, and he's sitting down. I'm laughing me. And then the judge said, look, he said, the best advice you ever took was changing your statement.
Because would you have just hit him with a bigger fucking sentence?
Yeah, so he said, you changed your statement at the right time. He said, so for that, he said, I'm going to knock 18 months off it. He said, so that leaves me now with a decision to sentence you. Now, his head's in his hands. He thought he's just got 4 years. He said, by you doing that and me giving you the 18 months, he went, I can turn this into the suspended sentence.
It's what, under 24 months, innit?
Yeah, so I walked him out of court. And so he didn't know. He thought he'd got 4 years. And at the end of it, they thanked everyone. And he said, the judge went, Mr. Burton, he said, do something with him. I said, look, he said, he's done all his courses. I've got a CSCS course. I went, I've got him a job in Oxford. I said, so I'm moving him away from Liverpool. He's going down there on 2 weeks on, 3 days off, back in. I said, and he went, you stick to that and make sure he works it with him. I said, all right. So the screw's gone to me. He's gone, okay, mate, take me down. and the screw said to me, went, whoever that was on that video call, he went, it's just walked you out of prison. He went, what? I'm not going to prison. He went, no, you're walking out. And give the kid his due. I put him in Oxford. He just changed his life like that. Having him coming out of his house of a day and meeting his mates and smoking a spliff, just put him in a different world. Getting him away and putting him in a new area and letting him go home for 3 days, just give him a new lease at life. It changed his life.
See, John, there's a fucking what's name story where you've turned someone's life around.
Yeah,
you know
and
what
it's like, I'd be like, I'm an advocate for like young kids when they get nicked and stuff. You know, and I'll educate them the best way. I'll say, look, you banged to rights, change your plea and go guilty, you get a lesser charge, or don't change your plea and run a trial, and then look where you're going to be.
That's fucking...
You know, it's just that we're educated about how prison works, how the police work and how solicitors work.
You know best, mate.
Yeah, and I'll educate them and say, look, you're making the wrong choice, but it's your choice. My advice is this. I've walked loads of people out of court. I've given kids jobs and got NFA off the police for them for no further action. Yeah. Then I don't mind working with them if they're going to do that.
You don't, that's it. And if they're going to put the what's name in, John.
But, you know, we've got a lot of funding. I don't want to put 2, 3, 4 grand into someone funding and the police are going to take him out of work when he's got a job and put him in jail, because it wouldn't be fair. Yeah. And it wouldn't be for what I want to do with people.
But if anyone wants to get in touch, John, just before we go, how did they get in touch with yourselves?
Go and get nicked, no money messing. Just obviously there's the apps on Google, Apple and Google Play Store. It's called Inside Connections. You can refer through that. You've got the websites, which are www.insideconnections.co.uk, or we've got 5 training schools in London we work from, 2 in the West Midlands, and we've got our own up in Liverpool and Warrington. Mm-hmm. And if anyone gets in touch, and we'll help if we can. You know, I can't work with certain convictions because a lot of my employers don't want to work with certain convictions. Like murder, there's a lot of this over murder. Look, there's different types of murder.
Yeah, we spoke about this before.
Yeah, and it's like I said to you, I'm not going to put Ian Huntley in front of someone and say, look, I think he's rehabilitated because he's just someone I wouldn't work with. Yeah, of course. But if someone's been like in a gang fight 20 years ago, you know, they've gone out, both of them have had a knife, they've had a fight, one's come out of it, one hasn't, but he's just done 20 years in jail. You know, he's gone in as a kid, he's coming out as a man, but hasn't realised what's gone on. They're the best people to work with, a lot of lifers, because they're on a life licence. One fuck up and they're back to closed conditions.
See you later,
And then you've got arson. You know, it's different. You know, if someone's threw a ciggy and it's hit a bin and gone on fire, I don't class that as arson.
But if someone's put fucking petrol on
and then you've got sex offences, there's different. Like, I used to say, no, I'm not working with sex offenders, blah, blah, blah. Anyone on a sex register. But then you look into it a little bit more now. Anyone who's got any sexual convictions against women and children and stuff, it's a no-no. Yeah. But you've got, like, you know, they've got people who've slept with the birds who's 3 months younger than them, who the mum's phoned the police. He's just got 8 years, but they're shacked up when they get out and they live together. And I'm thinking, well, why should he be on a sex register? Yeah. And then you've got, like, people who have a piss in the street. You know, it's a public order. If you turn around, show your dick, you go on a sex register. So there's different ways of... I have to look at it a different way now, you know what I mean? I can't judge a book by its cover anymore. I always remember some guy was on a webinar. I don't want to murder her. I had 40 odd people, and I don't want to murder. And I had to stop the webinar. I went, look, mate, I understand what you're saying. I said, but what's your problem? He went, I don't want no murderers working for me. I said, but you're on this call because you want to look at recruiting people from a different talent pool, and you keep butting in saying, I don't want murder. I went, tell you what, mate, if I seen you in a club and I give you a slap for no reason, what would you do? He went, I'd hit you back. I went, what if I fell and banged my head and died? I said, do you think you should? He went, but that's different. I went, no, it's not different, mate. I went, this is where you've got to understand that I'm never going to work with all murderers. I went, but there's people who have done a murder or who've hit someone or...
And they've banged their head or something.
And stuff. Or, like one of my mates I was away with, him and his mate were having a race in a car. And unfortunately, one slammed on, the other one's just clipped him. But the car toppled over and went on fire. And, the parents, were dead against them. I watched that kid cry every night in jail. And I watched him cry, and I was saying, what's the matter? And he was going, I've killed me mate. I'm never going to get over killing me mate. And then people don't realise the severity of if they've killed someone, that a lot of people, if they've got no remorse for it, then obviously they've got no feelings in them. But then I've watched people
who have,
then kids now, I've seen a lot of people go into jail who have gone in dead hard because they've stabbed someone and killed them. And they think the cock of the wing and everything. But then
when it gets put in, they fucking
I've seen it when a judge just put his hammer down and said 25 years. I'm the one who's got to go and sit with that kid of a night while he's crying his fucking eyes out, wondering, what am I doing for the next 25, 30 years? And that's what I say to kids now. I'll go, if you think you're good flying around with a knife and a gun or whatever, I went, here's what you're going to do. Go in home, go in your bathroom in your ma's house and shut the door and see if you can sit in there for 23 hours. I said, because if you can do that there for one night, I went, remember the next 25 years of your fucking life are doing that. And it sort of hits home, and they go...
Fucking right though, John.
And I said, this is what you have to remember. I went, you go out with a knife or a gun, especially a knife. If you go out with a knife, why are you carrying a knife? Because they're carrying them as well. Okay, sound. He's carrying a knife, so are you. You're both confronted with a knife. There's only two things you're going to do, mate. One's run away and save your life and not go to jail, or the other one's going to use it, and you're going to end up with a life sentence up your arse for using it.
And the after effect that it causes and whatever.
No, it's not nice. I've seen people get stabbed. I've seen people get shot. I've seen people thinking you can stab someone in the leg and think it's normality.
Mate, or...
It's when you pull that knife out and you've got 3 minutes to live. And if you don't know how to get your fingers in there and stop that bleeding. So we teach people about, if you've hit an artery, what to do to stop it bleeding. But if you don't know what to do on that, you're fucked.
You're looking at a murder.
You're looking, you've only, I'll stab him in the leg, lad. It's not going to hurt him, is it? So, but you've got arteries that run right through your body, and when you pull the knife out, and you've got 3 minutes to live if you've hit an artery.
That's it.
Yeah, and I've seen videos of people in the streets just stab someone and the poor kid's died. And then I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck is going on in this world?
It's absolutely bonkers,
but
John.
Then you've got companies selling knives and stuff like that. They should be fucking hammered for it.
Yeah, zombie knives and stuff
it's
like that.
Me years ago, when I said to people I was moving guns at the age of 13, 14, I didn't mean I'm moving guns every day. I was moving drugs, money, stuff like that. And then every odd time there was a gun and bullets. And they were only little snub-nosed handguns. They weren't Uzis or submachine guns. You didn't really get them then. Then you'd always get people oh, you didn't have guns in them days. Fucking course you had guns in them days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's people didn't know what we got up to because we lived a different world than a lot of other people. I see some of these guns on these streets now and I think to myself, what the fuck's going on? It's criminal world, and that's what's going to happen. And you know,
you're trying to change it for the better, though.
Yeah,
John.
I'll change what I can. I'm never going to be able to change a lot of people's perceptions on crime and drug dealing and getting involved in criminality. A lot of people just need to learn for themselves. And I go into prisons now, and these encros, I've seen how many people get nicked on them, and the sentences they're getting on them is just astronomical.
Yeah. They're making an example, aren't they?
As a lads who knew pretty well, who got 35 years for drugs. 35 fucking years for drugs. It doesn't make sense.
You think them type of sentences, and don't get me wrong, I'm not condoning and all that stuff, but what we were talking about, sex offenders and all that, they're the type of sentences them fuckers.
Me, when I got nicked, I said to the judge, look, he went, you've made everyone's life misery. Everyone I sold drugs to had a smile on their face. And I don't mean that disrespectful, but I didn't sell them crack and I didn't sell them smack.
Yeah.
I sold them ecstasy, LSD, weed, coke, speed, I went, they were recreational drugs. That
People are wanting that, you know what I mean? And I get that, and that's what I was saying before. People are wanting drugs, do you know what I mean? But
it's like, you know what, Tony, when you're in that world, like, you know what I was like, I was driving 40, 50, 60 grand cars.
Yeah.
I could go in and buy them cash then. But what I always didn't realise is, what I was portraying to kids, I see kids and go, I want one of them. I want to be like
you
him.
was when you were a kid, like you explained. That's what you were like.
And then
you know?
I think, and they go, I say, do you know what? I go, look, show them a mobile phone. I go, how much are they, mate? He goes, 1,400 quid. I go, no, it's £30 a month. I said, a BM and a Merc, 20, 25 grand. I went, no, it's £200 or £300 a month. I try and educate them to say, go to work for 6 months, create yourself a bank account, create yourself your wages going in. You can go and get them. You can go and get them and pay 30 quid a month for them. You don't have to go out and do a robbery or drug dealing or whatever to go and get 1,400 quid to buy an iPhone. Go to fucking work. And you'll find out in the long run that while you're in work, growing in stature and earning more and more money,
to manage your life and stuff like that.
If someone gives you 10 grand in that hand cash, someone gives you £1,000 in your bank for being working, you don't give a shit how you spend that. It's got to be spent. But you'll manage every pound that's in that bank account until you know you're not getting
until the next time you get paid. No, it's fucking...
And that's what I say to all the kids. I go, and they understand then, they go, fucking didn't think
I didn't look at it like that,
yeah. But that's the way you've got to look at it. Everything's not all about going out and trying to get the new iPhone because it's 1,400 quid.
Yeah.
It's about getting a job, sustaining a job, creating a credit line for you, getting any credit you want for phones and cars, and going to work every fucking day and learning a life, because you could earn 20 grand. 6 months later, that could walk into you as a conspiracy. You might get 15 years for that.
Yeah.
And you work out how much for every day you're in prison.
Well, many years and stuff like that.
It works out about £6 a day. You know what I mean? And then when you're working stuff like that, it's people's brains work different. So I had a kid in the other week, 15 years. He just got out after doing a 15. And he went, John, I need a job, but can't go on all them computers, don't know maths, don't know English. I've gone, well, what were you in jail for? He went, drugs. I went, how many grams in an ounce? He told me. I went, how many ounces in a kilo? He told me. I went, how many kilos in a ton? He told me. I went, so where did you keep your tick list? He went, up here. It's okay. He said, if I give you the cake here and you cut it in 4, he went, oh, fuck all them cakes. I went, all right. I said, here's a kilo of cocaine. I said, I've cut it in 4. What I've got? He went, quarters. I went, okay, so what have I cut them again? I went, so that's fractions. I said, Joe, you got quarters, 8s, 16s. Yeah. And he went, fucking hell, he says, that what that cake was where you cut in different pieces? I went, yeah. And he went, but you've only learnt me it was a kilo of cocaine and I know how to cut it. And I know how to make 16s, 8s, quarters. And I went, that's what, and I put him on a test.
And he fucking pissed it.
Yeah, I just said, look, I went, just go on for 10 minutes. I went, I won't put you on English, I'll just put you on maths. I put him on a BSK B skills test and he got fucking level 2. But I gave him a certificate and he cried. Because he didn't have a certificate in his life, but his probation officer was just gobsmacked going, you can't tell him to cut a kilo of cocaine up like that. I went, hang on a minute, love. I went, do you realise what I've just fucking done with him? I said, you're trying to get him in to do stuff. I went, the only way I can explain to a drug dealer how to make something, I said, I'd be giving them a fucking chocolate cake and tell them to cut it up and eat and work out what it is. I went, you give him a kilo of cocaine and get him to chop it up into ounces, quarters and stuff. He went, he will know what it is. And I clicked on her and she went, oh my God, yeah. I thought, fucking hell.
Fucking hell, John. John, do you know what, mate? I think we could fucking speak on. I think we probably have to do a fucking part 2. But listen, mate, that from start to finish was absolutely brilliant, mate. And I just want to say thank you so much for sharing the good, the bad and the ugly, mate. Thanks very much, mate.